Chapter 21:13. What if the two spirits weren't there? Wouldn't that be like trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it? Especially after hearing the screams coming from within the cliff, everyone didn't dare to act rashly. All of them were like ants on a hot pan, restless. Humans were just that weird. They were afraid of death, but they wanted to obtain the spirit's Jianling. Longao frantically searched everywhere for traces of the two people. He searched here and there, but he still couldn't find them. Where did they go? Long Fu, can you sense the aura of Xiling and Bailing? Long Fu knew the severity of the situation. Thinking about it, he said helplessly, Master, the cliff is a little special. My aura can't sense anything beyond 100 meters, so I can't lock onto their aura. This was big trouble. If even Long Fu couldn't lock onto their aura, it was even more impossible for him. Just at this moment, Long Ao's face changed and he raged. What do you want? Within Long Ao's dantian, the chaos stone tablet started to get restless. Before he could suppress it, it had already left his dantian. The chaos stone tablet grew bigger and stood in front of him. What was going on? Long Ao was very curious, but he was even more helpless. Although he had already started to refine the chaos stone tablet, he couldn't truly control it until he finished refining it. Just like now, the chaos stone tablet had left his dantian and he couldn't do anything about it. He could only watch. At this moment, he hoped that no one would come. Long Ao's luck wasn't too good. Whatever he was afraid of, it came. Look, what's that? Could it be the legendary chaos stone tablet? Seems like it. The few people who appeared looked at the gigantic stone tablet standing not too far away. Each and every one of them was shocked to the extreme. Although they had never seen a chaos stone tablet before, the aura that it emitted was very special. They weren't sure if it was the chaos stone tablet. This was big trouble. This was just a few people. If there were more people, he wouldn't be able to hide the fact that he had the chaos stone tablet. Once this was leaked, it would be troublesome. What should he do? Long Ao tried to control the chaos stone tablet, but it didn't work at all. He was depressed to the extreme. Every time he reached a critical moment, the primal chaos stone tablet would run out. All he could do was worry about it, but there was nothing he could do about it. 10 minutes later, dozens of people had already gathered around. All of them were staring intently at the gigantic stone tablet in front of them. Up until now, no one could be certain that this stone tablet was the legendary chaos stone tablet. He who strikes first gains the advantage. The dozens of people in the surroundings did not seem to be on equal footing as they all rushed towards the black stone tablet. Everyone ignored Long Ao. Although the starry domains, he's the chaos stone tablet. Long Ao was not controlled by the primal chaos stone tablet and could still move. However, Long Ao didn't seem to care at all. Others might not know what kind of power the chaos stone tablet possessed, but how could he not know? Just as expected, the 10 people grabbed the chaos stone tablet at the same time. Before they could react, the chaos stone tablet released wisps of black air and covered the 10 people. Miserable cries rang out one after another. In less than a few seconds, several dozen people had been swallowed up by the chaos stone tablet. Even their souls had vanished without a trace. He was overjoyed. As the 10 people disappeared, Long Ao knew that the fact that he had the chaos stone tablet wouldn't be leaked. But even so, if he couldn't control the chaos stone tablet, it wouldn't work. Long Ao tried his best to retrieve the chaos stone tablet, but he couldn't succeed. The more anxious he was, the more useless it was. Gradually, Long Ao calmed down. At this time, a stream of air entered his body. It flowed to his 4 limbs, 8 meridians, and all parts of his body. The chaos stone tablet that he couldn't control just now returned to his dantian because of the flow of air. He was curious. Without hesitation, he entered the wordless heavenly book space. Senior, thank you for your help. Long Ao was very shocked because he never would have thought that the mysterious black-clothed man would be able to control the primal chaos stone tablet. That person looked exactly the same as him and claimed to be his reincarnation. As for whether he was or not, he didn't know. Long Ao, you don't have much time. If you can't refine the chaos stone tablet, the consequences will be very troublesome. Senior, did you bring the chaos stone tablet to me?
The black-clothed man laughed.
Do you think that with your luck, you can really get the Chaos Stone Tablet? So that was it. Longao always thought that he could get 2 Chaos Stone Tablets at the same time because of his luck. So it was because of the black-clothed man. He smiled helplessly. Senior, just how difficult is it to refine the Chaos Stone Tablet? I'm sure you know better than me. According to my estimates, if I want to completely refine the Chaos Stone Tablet, I'll need at least 1,000,000 years. I might not even succeed. Longao didn't have any way to refine the Chaos Stone Tablet. If he said he didn't want to refine the Chaos Stone Tablet, that would be unrealistic. 1,000,000 years? Longao, do you think you have that much time? Longao was very curious. He didn't know why the mysterious youth was so anxious. Was there some trick to this? As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, the mysterious youth helplessly said, Longao, I'm sure you already know your identity. You are my reincarnation body after 100 reincarnations. A total of 99 lives, and not a single one of them succeeded. Your chances are very high. If even you fail, then I can only enter the cycle of reincarnation again. I'll have to go through another 100 reincarnations. I might not succeed. I can't wait, and neither can you. Couldn't wait? What was it that couldn't wait? Longao was very curious. He went straight to the point and said, Senior, if you have something to say, then say it. I don't want to be in the dark. Longao had a feeling that he was nothing more than a chess piece for this mysterious youth. He didn't know anything and was at the mercy of others. You don't have the qualifications to know about this. If you want to know, then you must first break into the titled World King realm and then refine the Chaos Stone Tablet. Only then will you have the qualifications to know about this and complete it. Do you understand? He didn't have the qualifications again. Since that was the case, Longao didn't ask any further. This was because he knew that if the other party didn't want to say anything, then even if he continued to ask, the other party wouldn't say anything. P.S. Deliver the 4th chapter. Deliver the 5th chapter before 10 o'clock. Chapter 21:14. Longao felt very uncomfortable in his heart. Whether it was the divine mathematician or the mysterious youth, he was just a chess piece. In the end, it was because he wasn't strong enough. Refining the primal Chaos Stone Tablet was easier said than done. After leaving the wordless heavenly book space, Longao continued to search for Xiling and Bailing. While Longao was doing his best to search for them, everyone who had entered Stormcliff was heading towards the peak of the mountain. Stormcliff was surrounded by steep cliffs on 3 sides. It was pitch black as far as the eye could see. Even a Starry Sky Realm King wouldn't dare to casually step into the cliffs. This was because no one knew what was at the bottom of the cliffs. Could it be that Xiling and Bailing's location had been exposed? At this moment, Longao was worried to the extreme. If the 2 primordial spirit Jinling were really Xiling and Bailing, then the situation would be very troublesome. If he was too slow, then Xiling and Bailing would be doomed. Thinking of this, Longao didn't dare to stay for even a moment. His speed soared to the extreme. Longao even used spatial teleportation to rush to the peak of the mountain as fast as he could. At the peak of Stormcliff, everyone had already rushed to the peak of Stormcliff. The 2 primordial spirit Jinling were girls. They were around 20 years old. As for their true ages, no one knew. At the very least, they were titled World Kings. Just thinking about it made one realize what this meant. When Lin Ju arrived and saw that the 2 primordial spirit Jinling weren't Xiling and Bailing, he finally let out a sigh of relief. He was very disappointed. Longao's heart was very complicated. He hoped that the 2 were Xiling and Bailing, but he also hoped that they weren't Xiling and Bailing. Everyone looked at the 2 girls, not daring to act rashly. This was because everyone knew the identities of the 2 girls. These 2 young girls were the titled World King Jinling they were looking for. Although both of their primordial spirits were seriously injured, no one dared to take a step forward. This was because many people were very afraid. No one knew if the 2 primordial spirits Jinling would act out of desperation. The self-detonation of 2 titled World Kings primordial spirits Jinling was no small matter. Once they chose to self-detonate their primordial spirits, everyone here would die. A bunch of trash. Sister, what should we do now? Humph. Even if we choose to detonate our yuan spirits, We won't fall into their hands. Primordial spirit explosion? Hearing their conversation, everyone was dumbfounded. Everyone retreated, afraid that the two of them would really choose to self-destruct. No one was unafraid of death. When the two Jinling primordial spirits saw everyone retreating, their faces were filled with disdain and ridicule. Only Longao did not take a step back. The two Jinling were very curious and said, "It seems that there are people who are not afraid of death. I'm convinced." Longao had never imagined that the two of them would really choose to self-detonate their primordial spirits. With their strength, it was not impossible for them to leave Storm Cliff. Why would they choose to self-detonate? Longao instantly entered the Dragon Seal space. The self-detonation of two titled World Kings Jinling's primordial spirits, one could imagine how powerful it would be. Boom, boom. With two loud explosions, the entire Storm Cliff was instantly reduced to nothingness. Everyone who was guarding the Storm Cliff looked at the Storm Cliff that had disappeared in front of them and already knew what had happened. Everyone was scared silly because they knew what the self-detonation of two Jinling primordial spirits meant. Who would dare to stay any longer? They immediately prepared to leave. The result? The self-detonation of two titled World Kings Jinling's primordial spirits not only instantly destroyed the entire Storm Cliff, but it also spread out in all directions. No matter who it was, even the two World Kings, they were not lucky enough to escape. They were all implicated, their true bodies and primordial spirits destroyed. No one could have imagined that things would end up like this. Kacha, Kacha. The self-detonation of two titled World Kings Jinling's primordial spirits was simply too powerful. A third of the storm plane was destroyed. Looking at the ruins of the storm plane, Longao sighed. It was simply too domineering. As expected of the self-detonation of a titled World King's primordial spirit, if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. The matter of the storm plane had already spread throughout the entire Grand Cloud realm. Even the Grand Cloud Empire knew about it. The self-detonation of two titled World Kings Jinling's primordial spirits caused many people to feel pity. It wasn't sympathy, but pity. If they could devour two primordial spirits Jinling's primordial spirits, then they would have a high chance of becoming a titled World King. Longao also deeply sighed. He originally thought that the two titled World Kings were Xiling and Bailing. He didn't think that he would end up with nothing. There was no other way. He could only continue to search for traces of Xiling and Bailing. While Longao was searching, he was also preparing to break through to the Starry Sky Domain Emperor realm. The amount of energy needed to break through from the Starry Sky Domain Emperor realm to the Starry Sky Domain Emperor realm was simply too great. Just devouring the primordial spirits of cultivators in the Starry Sky was far from enough. Master, your luck is simply too good. Longao, who was preparing to leave the storm plane, was surprised to hear Long Fu's words. He didn't know where his luck came from. He didn't manage to find Xiling and Bailing. Long Fu, what's going on? However, Longao was very clear about Long Fu's personality. Master, the self-detonation of the two titled World Kings Jinling's primordial spirits won't disappear in a short period of time. I can help you gather the remaining primordial spirits. According to my calculations, the remaining primordial spirits of the two titled World Kings should be able to break through to the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor realm. Starry Sky Domain Ancestor? Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. He was very clear about what the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor realm meant. If he could really break through to the Starry Sky Domain Ancestor realm, it would be an increase of 2 whole levels. Above the Starry Sky Domain Emperor was the Starry Sky Domain Emperor, and only after that would one be the so-called Starry Sky Domain Ancestor. Longao was just worrying about how long it would take for him to break through from the Starry Sky Domain Emperor realm to the Starry Sky Domain Emperor realm. He didn't expect that his luck would be so good that he would be able to break through 2 levels and directly become a Starry Sky Domain Ancestor. Then what should I do now? Go to the ruins of Stormcliff. Leave the rest to me. Longao didn't hesitate at all. He immediately went to the ruins of Stormcliff and found a relatively secluded place to start cultivating. Because of what had happened before, no one would come to Stormcliff now. Even the Storm Empire couldn't take care of itself, and didn't have time to care about the destroyed storm cliff. Under such circumstances, no one would come to disturb Longao. Master, let's start now. Okay. Longao couldn't wait any longer. He couldn't wait to start. At this time, the auras in the surroundings slowly gathered towards him. Longao could clearly sense that the auras coming towards him were the primordial spirits of the two titled world kings Jianling. It seemed that this was the so-called remaining primordial spirits. P.S. Copy of the 5th chapter. If it were an ordinary plane, the Empire wouldn't care. However, the soaring dragon plane was developing too fast. Especially in the dragon sect, there was a Starry Sky Sector Master and a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor. If they could recruit them, it would be a good thing. The Grand Cloud Empire was the absolute overlord of the realm. Logically speaking, all the planes here should be under the Empire's rule. However, that was not the case. Not only the Grand Cloud Realm, but the other realms as well, including the Heaven-Devouring Realm. No matter what, there were still some planes that were unwilling to be ruled. Sometimes, even the Empire had no choice. They could not really destroy them. You could destroy one plane, but could you destroy all the other planes that refused to submit? In this way, although many planes were ruled, they were still free. The Grand Cloud Empire sent an envoy to the soaring dragon plane, hoping that the dragon sect would join the Empire. However, the dragon sect did not even think about it and rejected it directly. This was because Yijimei and Heifeng knew that their master would not agree to this. If he agreed, there was no need to establish a sect. He could have just chosen to join the Heaven-Devouring Empire. No matter what, the Heaven-Devouring Empire's strength was far above the Grand Cloud Empire. P.S. Send the 1st chapter. Chapter 21:16. He had a splitting headache. He felt as if his internal organs had been displaced. Was he already dead? He opened his eyes with difficulty. Looking at the unfamiliar environment, Longao didn't know if he was alive or dead. It seemed like he wasn't dead. He let out a long sigh of relief. In the end, his luck was pretty good. He was swallowed by the space crack and didn't die. If news of this spread, no one would believe it. It was a 1 in 10,000 chance. For example, if 10,000 people were swallowed by the space crack, less than 3 would survive. This was the terror of the space crack. His whole body was in pain, and he couldn't move at all. After a full day and night, Longao was finally able to move a little. Even so, he couldn't get up. Where was he? This was a dense forest. Longao could almost say that this was a plain. As for whether he was still in the wind cloud plane, or even in the grand cloud plane, it was unknown. Enduring the pain in his body, Longao finally forced himself to stand up. With every step, he felt as if his whole body was falling apart. The pain was unbearable. The dense forest stretched as far as the eye could see. If Longao was at his peak, he could leave in a matter of minutes. But now, his injuries were very serious. Not to mention leaving, even if he could walk 100 meters, it would be a big problem. Master, your luck is really good. Longao smiled helplessly and said, Long Fu, sense where this is? Okay. Long Fu's Sector Lord Dragon Seal's aura instantly covered the surrounding space. He didn't speak for a long time. What was going on? Was there a problem with his position? Long Fu, what's wrong?
Master, there's no life in this plane.
No life? Longao knew what Long Fu meant. In other words, there wasn't a single person in this plane. There wasn't even a single spirit beast. What kind of place was this? Without waiting for Longao to ask, Long Fu continued, Master, you have to be careful. This plane is a little strange. Longao nodded. He didn't think about the matters of this plane. The most important thing now was to deal with his injuries. Otherwise, everything would be in vain. Even if he encountered danger, only death would await him. To be on the safe side, Longao didn't recuperate outside. Instead, he returned to the Dragon Seal space. By doing so, he could ensure that nothing would go wrong. In the Dragon Seal space, Longao did his best to recover from his injuries. Unfortunately, his body had been torn apart by the spatial rift. It was already fortunate that he hadn't died. Wanting to recover was truly a troublesome matter. His essence soul, in particular, was even more severely injured. Just when Longao was at his wit's end and didn't know what to do, a strange power suddenly came from his body and began to quickly heal his injuries. Black Iron Fragment. Longao knew what the Black Iron Fragment meant. Chapter 21:17. Longao, I can help you find your wife. He was overjoyed. Longao had guessed that the old man, who was the ruler of the starry sky, must have a way to help him find Xiling and Bailing. The 12 rulers of the starry sky were the strongest in the vast starry sky. Senior, how can I find them? Longao could not wait to find Bailing and Xiling immediately. He had stepped into the vast starry sky to find them, but after so long, there was still no trace of them. There were countless planes in the vast starry sky. Was it possible to find the two of them in the vast starry sky? It was almost impossible. Not now. What did he mean? Longao was a little curious. Was the old man playing with him? It seemed a little unlikely. Longao asked curiously, Senior, if now is not the time, then when is the time? Longao was very worried about the safety of the two of them. If the two of them were in their prime, Longao would not be worried, because there were not many people in the vast starry sky who could hurt them. But now, the situation was very different. Whether it was Xiling or Bailing, their bodies had died, leaving only their primordial spirits, and they were seriously injured. If they encountered a strong enemy at this time, how could the two of them resist? The longer they delayed, the more dangerous it would be for the two of them. Because of this, Longao knew very well that he had to find the two of them as soon as possible to minimize the danger. Longao, I know you are very worried about your wife, but I can tell you clearly that even if you can find her now, not only will it not be good for her, it might even be counterproductive. Senior, what is going on? The more the old man acted like this, the more curious Longao was. The more curious he was, the more uneasy he felt. Don't ask about this first. There is only one thing you need to do now, and that is to improve your strength as soon as possible. Only when you are strong enough can you protect your wife. Otherwise, everything will be nonsense. He sighed deeply. Since the old man had already said so, what else could he say? Senior, I know what to do. Longao, I swear on my honor that nothing will happen to your wife. He breathed a sigh of relief, because if he still couldn't believe the guarantee of a starry sky ruler, then he would be a little ridiculous. Senior, I'll take my leave first. Wait. Longao turned around and looked curiously at the old man in front of him. Could there be something else? Longao, the plane you're in now is a bit special. You have to be careful. Understood. Longao left the Black Iron Fragment. Both Long Fu and the old man had said so. It seemed that the plane he was in now was really dangerous. Among the countless planes in the vast starry sky, there were very few planes without people. Even if there were, they would probably be occupied by starry sky cultivators. Longao's injuries were almost healed, and he could now fly. He arrived at the peak of the 9 heavens and looked down. F***CK. He cursed fiercely in his heart, because at a glance, there was only a dense forest everywhere, and there was no other place at all. Not only that, Longao tried to release the aura of his primordial spirit, ready to cover the entire plane to see what was going on. However, before his primordial spirit could cover the entire plane, it was counterattacked by a mysterious force. If he hadn't withdrawn it in time, he would have been trapped. There was indeed something fishy. Longao was very curious. Since there was no living creature in this plane, what was counterattacking him? Could it be that this plane was the same as the storm cliff, the power of the plane itself? It was very likely. Continuing to fly in the air, Longao wanted to see just how big this plane was. With Longao's current speed, no matter how big the plane was, he could sweep across it in a few days. But what was the result? For a full 10 days, Longao didn't walk out of the dense forest. The only explanation was that this plane was full of forests. What a strange plane. There was no other way. Longao helplessly found that he couldn't even find the exit of the plane. In this case, he didn't even have the chance to leave the plane. It was too strange. Long Fu, can you sense the location of the exit? Shaking his head, Long Fu said helplessly, Master, this plane is too strange. Even I can't sense the location of the exit. After thinking about it, There is only one explanation. What? He had to find the exit as soon as possible. Longao didn't want to stay here forever. Master, if my guess is correct, this plane is actually not a plane. It can also be called a plane. Longao was a little confused by Long Fu's words. What did he mean by being both a plane and not a plane? Then was this plane a plane? Master, in the vast starry skies, there is a race called the plane race. This kind of life form can transform into a plane. In other words, in their own plane, they are the rulers. Longao was stunned. He had never heard of such a strange thing. The body could actually transform into a plane. If it wasn't for Long Fu, Longao wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. There was a life form that could transform into a plane. Just how strong was that? Long Fu, how strong is the plane race? It's very strong, but also very weak. If the life form itself isn't anything special, then it can transform into a world. If someone who doesn't know about it enters, then no one will be a match for the planar race. Even a titled world king wouldn't be able to do so. This is the strength of planar races. So that's how it was. Longao wasn't sure whether this plane he was in was a plane race or not. If it was, then things would be very troublesome. If it was, then how could he leave this plane? Long Fu, can you be sure whether this plane is a plane created by such a life form? Long Fu helplessly shook his head. Master, I don't dare to be sure. Up until now, this life form hasn't attacked you, so I can't be sure. But, Master, I have a way to test whether or not this plane is a plane created by a plane race. What way? Longao impatiently asked. This was because he also wanted to know whether or not the plane he was in was a plane created by a life form. This was directly related to whether or not he could smoothly leave this plane. Was it a plane or not? Master, you can attack any place in this plane. If it really is a plane created by a life form, then it will definitely retaliate. As for the coverage of your primordial spirit, that should be the life form's retaliation. Long Fu's method could be said to be very risky. Chapter 21:18. Attack or not? Longao knew that if he didn't attack, he could guarantee his safety even if he couldn't be sure if this plane was created by a living being. If he attacked, the living being would counterattack and the consequences would be troublesome. Master, since this living being didn't attack you, you shouldn't provoke it for now. Stabilize your realm first. All right. Although he had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm, his realm was unstable due to the spatial crack. The most important thing now was to stabilize the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm. Longao casually found a place and immediately sat down on the ground and began to stabilize. This plain was filled with dense forests, and there were no living beings. It didn't matter where he chose. As the days passed, Longao's realm slowly stabilized. The more he advanced, the more difficult it became. It was almost unimaginable for a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm to become a Starry Sky Territory Lord. It seemed that if he wanted to continue to break through, other than devouring a huge amount of energy, he would have to encounter fortuitous encounters. Without fortuitous encounters, there would be no breakthrough. Just like this time, after devouring the primordial spirits of 2 Starry Sky Territory Kings, Jinling, he broke through 2 realms, from the Starry Sky Territory Emperor to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor Realm. In the blink of an eye, 15 days passed. There were no attacks, and Longao didn't choose to attack either. Wait and see. After stabilizing his realm, Longao got up and walked around. Wherever he went, no matter where he went, it was the same. There were no humans or spiritual beasts. It was hell on earth. It would be unbearable to live here for a few years. However, this was a good place to cultivate in seclusion. No one would disturb him, and he could calm his mind. Everywhere in this plain was filled with dense forests, like a maze. No matter where he went, it was the same. Longao's mind was calm as he walked. He seemed to have entered a certain state. Heaven-devouring empire. Master, Ao can't destroy the heaven-devouring empire in 100 years. If we do that, won't we be harming Ao? Wan Tong was very worried about Longao's safety. It was impossible for Chen Tong to accept Longao. If nothing unexpected happened, 3 years later, Chuntang would definitely think of all sorts of ways to deal with Longao. With Longao's strength, he would definitely die. Until now, Wantong still couldn't figure out why his master would set a 100-year agreement with Longao. Could it be that master wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife? It didn't seem possible. Wanong, I know what you mean. This disciple of yours isn't simple. If he can really destroy the heaven-devouring empire within 100 years, he'll be a great opportunity for both of us. He didn't understand. Wantong still couldn't understand his master's meaning. Opportunity? How did Longao become their lucky chance? They really couldn't figure it out. Bujing sighed helplessly and said, Wanong, I'll tell you later. Right now, we only need to help Longao destroy the heaven-devouring empire. Huh. Hearing his master's words, Wantong was completely scared silly. Destroy the heaven-devouring empire? His master wanted to destroy the heaven-devouring empire? What was going on? Wantong was completely confused by Bu Jing's words. He didn't know why his master wanted to destroy the heaven-devouring empire. No matter what, the heaven-devouring empire had done them a favor. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stayed here for so many years. Master, can we do it? Of course not. I'm sure you know how strong the heaven-devouring empire is. We can't do it alone, but with Longao, we have a great chance. Wantong couldn't figure it out. Longao was just a universal domain emperor. Even if he could become a universal domain overlord or even a universal king within 100 years, it was still impossible for him to destroy the heaven-devouring empire. Others might not know, but how could Wantong not know how strong the heaven-devouring empire was? Not to mention the three of them, even the other universal domains wouldn't be able to destroy the heaven-devouring empire. His master seemed like a fantasy. Wantong, come with me. Longao didn't know anything about his master and Bu Jing. Currently, he was still in the mysterious world. Until now, he was still wandering around freely. Anyway, every place was the same. It was a lush forest. After walking for an unknown period of time, Longao woke up with a start. He realized that not only had his injuries healed, but he had also made some progress in his cultivation realm. If I can stay in this state, it won't be a tough thing to break through to the Territory Lord realm. Longao was satisfied with his good fortune. It was just dozens of days to break through to the Territory Ancestor realm from the Territory Emperor realm from the Territory Lord realm. It was an unimaginable thing. If he cultivated normally, only God knew how long it would take. Not bad. I didn't expect you to be able to enter the state in my body. You're quite talented. At this moment, an illusory voice came from the surroundings. Longao wasn't surprised at all because he had already guessed that this world was created by the races on this world. Senior, I didn't mean to offend you. Longao was very polite because he didn't have any grudges with the other party. He believed that the other party wouldn't make things difficult for him. Unless the other party was looking for trouble, there was nothing he could do. In short, if the enemy didn't move, he wouldn't move. If the enemy moved, he would move first. I know that you were brought here by the spatial crack. I'm curious. How did you resist the spatial crack and not get killed? Even he didn't know. Longao thought that he was dead for sure. After all, being sucked in by the spatial crack didn't bode well for him. However, sometimes, being too lucky couldn't be helped. Senior, to be honest, I don't know what's going on. He told the truth and didn't try to hide anything. A figure flickered, and a figure appeared in an instant. It was an old man, but it was impossible to tell his actual age. This was because in the vast starry sky, as long as they did not say anything, no one would know. Some starry sky cultivators had lived for tens of millions of years, but they still looked like they were in their 20s. Some people had lived for less than 10 years, but their hair had already turned white. Senior, you don't need to call me that. I don't like it. If you don't mind, you can call me Big Brother Feng. Big Brother Feng. Of course, Longao didn't mind. Moreover, he could clearly feel that this so-called race in front of him was a formidable universal domain king. If he wanted to deal with him, he didn't know if he could leave this place alive. The planar race and the reincarnation race were too domineering and rose to power too quickly. They provoked countless forces and caused fatal disasters. In the end, whether it was the planar race or the reincarnation race, they were all annihilated. I am the only one left of the planar race. Longao had already guessed this, but he did not say anything. Could it be that Feng Xiu wanted him to avenge the planar race? If that was the case, he would never agree even if he was beaten to death. It was easy to guess what kind of existence could destroy the planar race. Was it worth it for him to provoke countless powerful enemies for Feng Xiu? Definitely not. As if he could guess Longao's thoughts, Feng Xiu said helplessly, "Longao, don't worry. I don't intend to pursue the feud between the races. With my strength alone, I can't shake so many forces. Rather than that, I am asking for trouble." Longao admired Feng Xiu very much. He was able to pick up and let go. "Senior, if that's the case, what do you need me to do?" Longao was very curious. Since Feng Xiu was not looking for him to avenge the planar race, what did he want him to help with? "Longao, I only need you to help me retrieve one thing." "Senior, what is it?" Longao was really curious. He did not know what Feng Xiu wanted him to retrieve because he could not understand. With Feng Xiu's strength, what was it that he could not retrieve by himself? Why did he need Longao's help? But with his strength, he was no match for Feng Xiu. The difference between the two was too great. They were not on the same level. "The treasure of my planar race." "Senior, there is something I don't understand. With Senior's strength and the planar race, how can the vast starry sky stop Senior's footsteps? I believe Senior should be aware of my strength. I am a territory ancestor of the starry sky, not even a territory lord of the starry sky." Feng Xiu sighed helplessly and said, "Longao, if I could, I would not have waited for so long. This place is the nemesis of our planar races. Once we step in, we will die without a doubt." So that was the case. Since things had already reached this point, could he still refuse? "Senior Feng, may I know where this place is?" "Forbidden Deathland." Forbidden Deathland? What was this place? Feng Xiu didn't try to hide anything. He briefly explained the situation in the Forbidden Land of Death. The Forbidden Deathland was one of the forbidden lands in the vast starry sky. No one dared to step into the Forbidden Deathland, not even a titled world king. According to Feng Xiu, the planar races were besieged by countless forces in the past. With no other choice, the planar races threw their treasure into the Forbidden Deathland. After so many years, Feng Xiu was unable to retrieve the treasure from the Forbidden Deathland. Feng Xiu was different from others. Because of the restrictions of the planar races, the Forbidden Deathland was the nemesis of the planar races. Once Feng Xiu stepped into the Forbidden Deathland, not to mention retrieving the treasure, he did not even know if he could come out alive. Longao was also depressed to the extreme. Even a titled world king didn't dare to casually step into the Forbidden Land of Death. With his strength, if he were to step in, wouldn't that mean that he would also die? He had just agreed to Feng Xiu's request. If he rejected it now, it would be too unkind of him. "Longao, in the Forbidden Deathland, there is a race called the Death Race. They are extremely powerful. In the past, they were sealed by the Slaughter Starry Sky ruler. After so many years, no one has been able to break the seal. If the Death Race reappears in the vast starry sky," Feng Xiu did not continue speaking, but the meaning of his words was clear. The Death Race's strength was comparable to the planar races and the reincarnation race. P.S. There has been no battery since the afternoon. I wrote this on my phone. The 4th and 5th chapters have been delivered at the same time. Chapter 2120. Senior, I'm not sure. This was the truth. Longao didn't want to refuse, but he knew his limits. Once he stepped into the Forbidden Land of Death, he would die there, not to mention getting the so-called treasure. "Longao, I know what you're worried about. I'll hide in any of your divine artifacts. No matter what danger you encounter, I'll be able to help you." "I see." Longao knew what Feng Xiu meant. He wanted to enter the Forbidden Land of Death with him. Since things had come to this point, he had no reason to refuse. They stayed in the body plane for a few days. Feng Xiu's body appeared and took Longao to the Forbidden Land of Death. Longao and Fengxiu quickly arrived at the death plane under the constant use of teleportation arrays. The death plane didn't belong to any empire, nor did it belong to any realm. It could be said that the death plane was an independent plane. The death plane was fundamentally different from other planes. The so-called Forbidden Land of Death didn't have an independent plane at all. It only had a huge black vortex. As for the plane, it seemed to have completely integrated into the vast starry sky. Longao, this is the Forbidden Land of Death. Have you thought it through? He nodded. Longao took out the samsara sword and said, Senior, you can stay here for the time being? Okay, no problem. But remember, after entering the Forbidden Land of Death, you have to be careful. If you encounter any divine artifacts, I'll sense it. I'll tell you then. With that, Fengxiu's figure entered the samsara sword. Longao put away the samsara sword and stepped out. He disappeared into the black vortex. The death plane was listed as a forbidden land by the vast starry sky. In addition to the fear of death, the more important reason was that there was a seal of the Slaughter Star Dominator in the Forbidden Land of Death. Although the seal only worked on the Death Clan, no one was willing to provoke the Slaughter Star Dominator. What if the Slaughter Star Dominator hadn't died? Any one of the 12 Dominators of the Starry Sky could defeat all the forces. In the Black Vortex, Longao had disappeared without a trace. In the Death Plane, the air was gray and hazy. Longao, who had just stepped into the plane, immediately frowned. According to Fengxiu, the death aura in the death plane was very strange. It could silently invade a cultivator's body. With Fengxiu's aura enveloping him, Longao could resist the corrosion of the death aura around him. There was only desolation everywhere. Not to mention humans, even insects were nowhere to be seen. He knew nothing about the undead plane, and neither did Fengxiu. Longao didn't need to release his aura to envelop the area, and he could ascertain that the so-called death plane was boundless. It was easier said than done to find a divine artifact in such a large plane. Lucky? Or was it bad luck? He should be happy that he was able to befriend one of the few remaining races of the plane. But now, Longao wasn't happy at all. The death plane was too dangerous, and the slightest carelessness could cost him his life. Was it worth it to take such a risk for a person he had just met? He shrugged helplessly. No matter what, this was his own choice, and he couldn't blame anyone else. He would take it one step at a time. Longao didn't know anything about the Death Clan, and he didn't know what the Death Clan was like. Anyway, he only knew one thing. The Death Clan was very powerful. Even the Slaughter Starry Sky ruler had personally acted to seal them. The Death Clan members couldn't leave the Death Plane at all. Master, the Death Clan is very unusual. You must be careful. Long Fu, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke at this time. Long Fu, can you pinpoint the location of the Death Clan? Longao had already tried to release his primordial spirit, hoping to cover the Death Plane. But the Death Plane was the same as the main plane. His primordial spirit could only be maintained within 100 meters. Once it exceeded 100 meters, it couldn't continue to cover. In this case, it was simply a pipe dream to use the primordial spirit to cover the Death Plane. Master, I can't do what you can't do. If I forcibly break the airflow here to pinpoint the location of the Death Clan, then the Death Clan will immediately pinpoint our location. Also, I have to tell Master a piece of bad news. I can't enter the Dragon Seal space? Longao had already guessed that for him. Not being able to enter the Dragon Seal space was the worst news. Especially under such circumstances, not being able to enter the Dragon Seal space was simply asking for his life. Master, you're right. The airflow here has the seal of the Slaughter Star Dominator. If you enter the Dragon Seal space, the seal will also enter the Dragon Seal space. At that time, we'll be in big trouble. So that's how it is. Unknowingly, Longao came to a swamp. There were swamps all around, and in the swamps, there were constantly bubbling bubbles. It looked very strange and mysterious. Flying in the air was definitely out of the question, because flying in the air was too conspicuous. If he was accidentally discovered by the Death Clan, wouldn't he go for wool and come home shorn? The surroundings were still gray. Longao didn't step into the swamp. Who knows what dangers existed in this swamp? This time, Entering the Death Plane was mainly to help Feng Xiu obtain the treasures of the Death Plane's races. As for other matters, he didn't want to care too much. As for the Death Clan, he didn't even want to see a single person. The goal was clear, so there was no need to complicate matters. The Death Plane was a bit too big. Just relying on walking was a bit of a pain in the ass. Longao also knew that it was a bit unrealistic to continue like this. Entering the Death Plane, unless it was a last resort, Feng Xiu wouldn't appear at all, nor would he communicate with him through spiritual sense. In this case, everything depended on himself. Longao, there is a Slaughter Star Dominator's seal here. You have to be careful. If you wake up even a trace of his remnant soul, I'm afraid you'll really die here. Suddenly hearing the words of the old man in the black fragment, Longao was shocked because he knew very well what it meant to have a trace of the Slaughter Star Dominator's remnant soul. He believed that even with his current strength, he wasn't a match for the Slaughter Star Dominator's remnant soul. This was the gap between them, like an insurmountable gap. It seemed that in order to prevent the Death Clan from breaking out of the seal, the Slaughter Star Dominator had specifically left his remnant soul to guard this place. It was hard to imagine how powerful the Death Clan was to be treated like this by the Slaughter Star Dominator. The more this was the case, the more afraid Longao was and the more cautious he was. Senior, how can I prevent the Slaughter Star Dominator's remnant soul from waking up? This was the most important thing. P.S. Send the first chapter. Chapter 21-21. Longao knew what it meant to kill the remnant soul of the Starry Sky Ruler. If he was careless and woke up the remnant soul of the Starry Sky Ruler, he would be in big trouble. Remember, don't try to shatter the starry sky. He felt scared just thinking about it. If the old man didn't remind him, Longao couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't use Shatter the Starry Sky if he was in danger. If he really used Shatter the Starry Sky and woke up the remnant soul of the Starry Sky Ruler, the consequences would be unimaginable. Understood. He continued to move forward cautiously with 120% of his concentration. The Death Plane was mysterious and strange. The more mysterious something was, the more dangerous it was. Even Longao didn't dare to be careless. The Death Plane. In the so-called Death Plane, the most powerful race was the Death Clan, and the rest were some smaller races. These races were actually enslaved by the Death Clan. After walking for a long time, Longao suddenly came to a village. Ruoshui Village? Looking at the stone tablet outside the village, Longao was very surprised. Could it be that there are other races in the Death Plane? Longao didn't know anything about the Death Plane. Who are you? The two men who were guarding outside the village asked vigilantly when they saw Longao walking towards the village step by step. Black Wolf, I'm looking for your chief. Wait a moment. The two could clearly feel the other party's strength. They didn't dare to be careless and immediately went back to report. After a short while, 3 people came out of the village. They were the chief of Ruoshui Village, Ruomu, a Starry Sky Realm Lord. The other 2 were his daughter, Wolin, a level 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, and his nephew, a Starry Sky Territory Ancestor. May I know who you are? Why did you come to my Ruoshui Village? Ruomu looked like a weak scholar. He was curious because no stranger had come to Ruoshui Village for many years. I'm Black Wolf. I came to Ruoshui Village by accident. I want to ask you some questions. Please. Inside a large bungalow. Your Excellency, Black Wolf, what do you want to ask? Ruomu was polite. If it were someone else, they wouldn't be so friendly when they sensed that Black Wolf was just a territory ancestor. However, Ruomu didn't want to provoke the Forbidden Land. He shouldn't underestimate the competence of a territory ancestor. Looking around, Longao's meaning was very simple. You two go out first. Yes, father. Ruolin stood up and left. As for Ruofeng, before he left, he coldly snorted and said unhappily, Who do you think you are? Humph, Your Excellency Black Wolf, please don't make any suggestions. He's just a child. Longao smiled and did not take it to heart. No matter where he went, he would encounter such things. As long as Ruofeng did not provoke him, he would definitely not bother with the other party. It's all right. Longao went straight to the point and said, Patriarch, I want to ask you a few things. I believe you should know about the Death Clan, right? Hearing the words Death Clan, Ruamu's face changed instantly. He was very curious. He didn't know why Black Wolf was asking about the Death Clan since he was from the Death Plane. Your Excellency Black Wolf, you're not from the Death Plane? That's right. I've just stepped into the Death Plane. Longao didn't plan to hide it. Since he asked about the Death Plane, as long as the other party wasn't a fool, they would definitely guess that he wasn't from the Death Plane. He was from the outside. Since that was the case, he might as well get straight to the point. It would save the other party a lot of trouble. I see. Your Excellency Black Wolf, forgive me for asking, but why do you want to know about the Death Clan? To tell you the truth, for some reason, my family lost a supreme treasure to the Death Clan. For my family, I must retrieve this treasure. Ruamu didn't say much and didn't continue to ask. Your Excellency Black Wolf, forgive me for being blunt. The Death Clan is the overlord of the Death Plane. They have many experts. With your strength alone, it'll be difficult to retrieve your treasure. Ruamu was very kind and Longao could clearly feel it. It's imperative. The purpose of entering the Death Plane this time was to help Feng Xiu retrieve the treasure. Since he had already promised the other party, there was no need to give up now. Hence, Longao had decided that no matter what happened, no matter what danger he would encounter, he must help Feng Xiu retrieve the treasure. The Death Clan is very far away from my Ruo Shui clan. However, with your speed, you should be able to reach there in one day. According to the information I know, the Death Clan has 10 titled World Kings, 100 Starry Sky World Kings, 1,000 Starry Sky World Lords, and over 10,000 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors. 10 titled World Kings, 100 Starry Sky World Kings, 1,000 Starry Sky World Lords, and over 10,000 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors. Hearing Ruamu's words, Longao was shocked. What kind of concept was that? With such terrifying strength, who in the vast starry sky could be a match for them? The heaven-devouring empire was already very powerful, but in front of the Death Clan, it was just a piece of trash. As long as the Death Clan wanted to, they could destroy the heaven-devouring empire anytime and anywhere. Longao finally understood why the Massacre Star ruler wanted to seal the Death Clan. With such terrifying strength, if they left the Death Plane and entered the vast starry sky, as long as the Death Clan liked to kill, it was easy to imagine what would happen. Looking at the shocked expression on Black Wolf's face, Ruamu felt helpless. The Death Clan was too powerful. Not to mention a single person, even a Starry Sky Empire or a titled World King would not dare to casually provoke the Death Clan. Your Excellency Black Wolf, do you still want to go to the Death Clan? I'm determined to succeed. Ruamu praised and said helplessly, Your Excellency Black Wolf, the Death Clan is a hornet's nest that cannot be touched. Moreover, it's in the Death Plane. If you anger the Death Clan, it will be difficult for you to leave. Ruamu was speaking from the bottom of his heart. In fact, the Water Clan and many other clans hated the Death Clan because in the Death Plane, all clans were slaves to the Death Clan. With a deep sigh, Ruamu stood up and said angrily, Your Excellency Black Wolf, you may not know, but the Death Clan is very cruel. There are countless small clans in the Death Plane, but they are all enslaved by the Death Clan and live in an abyss of suffering. Sigh. Longao already knew about the cruelty of the Death Clan. According to Feng Xiu, the Death Clan was extremely cruel in the past. They slaughtered all the cultivators in the starry sky. In the end, they were annihilated by the joint forces of many forces and were sealed by the Massacre Star ruler. Even so, after so many years of recuperation, the Death Clan's strength began to slowly recover and had grown to this extent. P.S. Send the second chapter here. Chapter 21-22. Why did Ruamu tell him this? Was there a hidden meaning in his words? However, one had to realize that he was just a passing traveler in the Death Plane. Patriarch Ruo, you and I are straightforward people. There's no need for this. Just say it. All right, you're a straightforward person.
Ruamu was helpless.
Your Excellency Black Wolf, I don't know why, but I feel that there's something wrong with you. If you don't have full confidence, you won't step into the Death Plane rashly. Since that's the case, I want to ask for your help. Tell me, Longao didn't agree or refuse. What if Ruomu wanted his help and he couldn't do it? Did he have to help? He had to act according to his ability. Your Excellency Black Wolf, to be honest, if you step into the Death Clan, if you have the chance, please help me kill the son of the Death Clan Patriarch. Thank you. And it was a very difficult task. Longao also did not expect that the favor that Weakwood wanted him to help with would actually be this matter. Killing the son of the Death Clan Patriarch, one could imagine how difficult it was. Patriarch Ruo, do you think I can do it? Longao laughed. Ruomu thought too highly of him. Even if his strength increased greatly and his cultivation base broke through from the Starry Sky Domain Emperor to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor, he still couldn't shake the Death Clan. The strength of the Death Clan was there for all to see. 10 titled Realm Kings, 100 Starry Sky Realm Kings, 1,000 Starry Sky Realm Lords, and 10,000 Starry Sky Territory Ancestors. What kind of concept was that? Any one of the Death Clan members wasn't someone he could deal with. A total of 10 titled Realm Kings, 100 Starry Sky Realm Kings, and thousands of Starry Sky Realm Lords. Your Excellency Black Wolf, I believe you have the ability. Ruomu knew very well that if it was an ordinary person who would dare to step into the Death Plane casually to retrieve the divine weapon from the Death Clan, it was almost impossible. Since Black Wolf dared to enter the Death Plane and wanted to step into the Death Clan, it meant that he had full confidence. Without waiting for Longao to speak, Ruomu continued, Your Excellency Black Wolf, as long as you agree and help me kill this person, I can give you something. What was that? Longao did not speak because he also wanted to see what it was. If it was really valuable, then killing the Death Clan's Patriarch's son would not be impossible. Your Excellency Black Wolf, please follow me. Longao got up and left with Weakwood. Inside a very secluded wooden hut, there were powerful seals all around. Longao didn't know if Weaktree was a friend or foe. If Weaktree chose to seal him, then things would become very troublesome. Longao was not sure if Weakwood was from the Death Clan, but one had to know. In the Death Plane, the Deathkin was the most powerful existence. In the following time, he wanted to know more about the Death Clan. Know yourself, know your enemy, and you'll win every battle.
Trash.
Black Wolf walked around the Weakwater village. A young man walked towards him. It was none other than Weakwind, Weaktree's nephew and Weaklind's cousin. You're not even as good as Trash. Black Wolf, stop right there. As the super genius of the Weakwater clan, his cultivation base had reached the peak of Territory Ancestor Realm. He could break through to the Starry Sky Territory Lord Realm at any time. Thus, Weakwind didn't put Longao in his eyes. Unless he was a Starry Sky Territory Lord or above, he wouldn't mind at all. Weakwind didn't like Longao. He was a typical bully. If Longao was from the Death Clan, would Weakwind still dare to act like that? You better get lost. Longao didn't want to stir up trouble, but he wasn't afraid of trouble. However, for Weaktree's sake, he didn't want to tangle with Weakwind too much. Ha ha ha, what an arrogant Trash. I'll let you win today. Without waiting for Weakwind to finish speaking, a figure shot over from afar. Author's note: the 3rd chapter has arrived. Chapter 21-23. Ruo Lin approached him from afar. Cousin, what are you doing? Ruo Lin grimaced. She had learned from her father about the agreement between Black Wolf and him. If Ruo Feng were to deal with Hei Lang and mess up this matter, wouldn't his father's plan fall short of success? He chuckled. Cousin, it's nothing. This man is arrogant. I just want to teach him a lesson. Father wants to see you. Ruo Lin was annoyed. Everyone knew that Ruo Feng liked Ruo Lin a lot. However, they didn't like each other. Ruo Feng thought that since Ruo Lin wanted to help Black Wolf, did she like him? You only know how to hide behind a woman. You're a piece of trash. Slap. Slap. In the next second, before the two of them could react, the sound of 2 slaps rang out. They were dumbstruck. Ruo Feng covered his face. He couldn't believe it. The other had slapped him twice. Was it true? If he hadn't experienced it himself, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Black Wolf, you're courting death. Ruo Feng had lost his face. He didn't care about anything else. Even if his cousin was in front of him, he would still attack. Even Ruo Lin couldn't believe it. Ruo Lin had never thought that Black Wolf would slap her cousin's face at this moment. Even if her cousin was wrong, Black Wolf had crossed the line. Ruo Lin was a little bit angry. Although Black Wolf had an agreement with her father, if she didn't teach him a lesson, what would happen to her cousin's face? Ruo Lin was partial to Ruo Feng. They were both territory ancestors of Starry Sky, but Ruo Feng was at the peak of territory ancestor realm. Under normal circumstances, Black Wolf wasn't Ruo Feng's equal opponent. And the result? The two of them had a fierce battle. Because of Ruo Mu, Longao wouldn't kill Ruo Feng. He just wanted to teach him a lesson. At the same level, Longao wasn't afraid of anyone. Not to mention the territory ancestors of Starry Sky, Longao wasn't even afraid of the territory masters of Starry Sky. Not to mention his own strength. Just the two Starry Sky Corpse demons alone could easily deal with Ruo Feng. Because of this, if he wanted to end the battle quickly, there was only one move. Time imprisonment, one of the sure kill skills. Longao's speed was very fast. With the help of time imprisonment, he had already gained the upper hand. Ruo Feng, who was originally full of confidence, suddenly felt that his body had been forcibly frozen. His expression instantly changed as he could not figure out how the other party had done it. Mr. Black Wolf, please show mercy. Ruo Lin was just a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator, so even if she wanted to intervene, she was powerless. Who's trash? Longao's face was full of contempt and ridicule. He said contemptuously, "It's important to know one's limits. If I want to kill you, I can do it in a matter of minutes." With the time imprisonment gone, Ruo Feng could move freely. Master, there's something you don't know. This water droplet is extremely powerful. If you casually use it, it will definitely trigger the seal of the death plane. When that time comes, even if you can complete your task, you won't be able to leave this place. Seal? Yes, seal. Once the power of the drop of water activates the seal of the death plane will automatically seal you. At that time, your situation will be very troublesome. Although I don't know if my guess is correct, I feel that Ruo Mu isn't simple. So, Master, you must be careful of him. Longao knew that if he didn't have full confidence, Long Fu wouldn't have casually spoken. Was there really something fishy about Ruo Mu? If so, then he really had to be careful. Long Fu, if there's anything you want to say, just say it. Longao didn't know why, but he had a feeling that Long Fu was implying something. P.S. The 4th chapter has been delivered. My head hurts. The 5th chapter will be added tomorrow. The 6th chapter will be updated tomorrow. Everyone, please forgive me. Little Nine didn't deliberately not write the 5th chapter. Sorry. Chapter 21-24.
Master, Ruo Mu's strength shouldn't be underestimated.
There was a hidden meaning in his words. Was Ruo Mu not a Starry Sky Sector Lord? If that was the case, Ruo Mu was really not simple because even he could not sense anything wrong with Ruo Mu. Long Fu, even you can't sense Ruo Mu's true strength? Yes. He was even more surprised. With the water droplet, Longao had more or less confidence. After a short rest, he immediately left Ruo Shui village and headed toward the Death Clan. Before leaving, Ruo Mu gave Longao a map. If he hurried according to the map, it would save him a lot of unnecessary trouble. The Death Clan was the absolute overlord of the Death Plane. In the past, the Death Clan was extremely powerful and could even compete with the Luan clan. One could imagine how powerful the Death Clan was. Due to the previous destruction and the seal of the Starry Sky Ruler, the Death Clan was unable to recover. Even so, after so many years of recuperation, the Death Clan had recovered 1/10 of their strength. 10 titled Realm Kings, 100 Starry Sky Realm Kings, 1,000 Starry Sky Realm Lords, and tens of thousands of Starry Sky Territory ancestors. If the Death Clan was at its peak, this number would be 10 times more. The Death Clan was located in the center of the Death Plane and was also the forbidden area of the Death Plane. Without the summons of the Death Clan, no matter who it was, no matter which race it was, would dare to step into the Death Clan's territory. Not only that, every once in a while, the Death Clan would slaughter the surrounding races because the Death Clan was an extremely ferocious race. After several hours of hurrying, Longao finally arrived at the Death Clan's ruling sphere of influence. He did not step into the Death Clan. "Master, hurry up and leave this place. You have been locked on." Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was shocked. He was already careful enough. Before coming, he had completely concealed his aura. Under normal circumstances, as long as he did not step into the Death Valley, it would be difficult to lock on to his location. But the result? Without any hesitation, Longao knew very well that the Death Clan was definitely not simple since they could shake the vast starry sky. Just as Longao disappeared, two figures appeared at the same time. They were Zhong Yi and Qianlin, the two elders of the Death Clan, who were also titled elders. Just as the two of them were about to come out, they suddenly felt that something was wrong. So they took the opportunity to come over and see what was going on. The people of the Death Clan all had a common characteristic. As long as one was a member of the Death Clan, the power and bloodline in their body carried the aura of death. This was something that could not be faked by outsiders. This was also why the two of them had instantly sensed Longao's presence the moment he arrived at the Deathkin's territory. Did we sense it wrongly? That's impossible. If an outsider stepped into our territory, there's no way we wouldn't be able to sense it. Both of their faces were very gloomy, as ugly as it could get. Due to the Death Clan's rule and strength, no clan in the Death Plane dared to rashly provoke the Death Clan. All these years, no one had ever dared to step into the territory ruled by the Death Clan unless they were summoned by the Death Clan themselves. Looks like there's someone. However, he's moving very quickly. Even you and I can't lock onto his position. The two of them couldn't figure out how the other party could teleport. If it was an ordinary person, how could they avoid being locked onto by two titled world kings? It was all because of teleportation. They had to admit that teleportation was too powerful. The two of them didn't continue to stay. Looking at the two figures gradually disappearing, Longao's lips slowly curved into a sneer. "Do you think it's that easy to lock onto my position?" Longao didn't stay in the same place for long. Using teleportation, he constantly changed his position. This way, it wouldn't be easy for the people of the Death Clan to lock onto his position. Longao followed the two titled world kings and didn't step into the Death Clan's territory. He wanted to see where the two titled world kings were going. Longao didn't dare to follow too closely. No matter what, the two of them were titled world kings. If he was discovered by them, it would be troublesome. "I keep feeling that something is wrong. Do you have the same feeling?" "Zhongyi, you seem a little off today." "I don't feel anything wrong." Qianlin was very curious. He really couldn't figure out what was going on with Zhongyi today. She wasn't like the usual Zhongyi. What was going on? Zhongyi thought for a moment and said helplessly, "I keep feeling that someone is following us." Potential was very surprised because he knew that Potential couldn't be so casual. Could someone really be following them? Thinking about it, it shouldn't be possible. With their strength, who in the Death Plane would dare to follow them? However, the two of them looked at each other and separated. Who should they follow? As if thinking of something, Longao chuckled and didn't move. He just stood there and watched. After a while, the two titled world kings returned. Seeing that there wasn't any movement, the two of them were very curious. Could they have sensed wrongly? The two of them felt helpless. This kind of situation had never happened in so many years. What's going on? There are two possibilities. Either we sensed wrongly, or the other party's speed and senses are very strong. In the Death Plane, besides my death race, there are no more than 10 races with titled world kings. These 10 races have all chosen to submit to us, so it's impossible. The two of them were very confident. In the Death Plane, there was no one who dared to provoke the death race. That was simply courting death, especially if someone dared to provoke the two of them. In the Death Plane, such a thing had never happened before. The only explanation was that the two of them sensed wrongly. Shrugging helplessly, the two of them chose to continue on their way. This time, Longao was even more cautious. Even so, he was still surprised that the two titled world kings' senses were so strong. Even though he was so far away, he was still almost sensed by them. Step by step, he followed them with 120% of his attention. The two of them didn't leave the death race's territory. Unknowingly, The two of them arrived at a desolate mountain range. This made Longao very curious. He didn't know why the two titled world kings had come here. As soon as they arrived at the desolate mountain range, the two of them immediately sat down and began cultivating. Cultivating here? What was the meaning of this? Longao was very surprised. This was because this was a desolate mountain range. Why did the two titled world kings choose to cultivate here? The Death Race's territory was so vast. Why didn't they choose to cultivate here instead of other places? It was really strange. P.S. Send the first chapter here. Perhaps the territory ancestor of the Starry Sky Territory clan was very strong in other clans, but in their eyes, the territory ancestor of the Starry Sky Territory clan was nothing. The speed of spatial teleportation was just too fast, especially since Longao's cultivation had smoothly broken through to Starry Sky Territory ancestor. The power of spatial teleportation had doubled. Even a titled world king would not be able to catch up to Longao in a matter of minutes. The more they chased, the more anxious they became. As titled world kings, the two of them naturally knew the real reason why Longao's speed was so fast. Spatial teleportation was the true pinnacle of speed. Spatial teleportation was only in existence in legends because it was the pinnacle of speed. Very few people could condense this kind of divine ability. It was no wonder that with the other party's strength and speed, he could move so fast. Even with their strength and speed, they couldn't catch up to him in the shortest amount of time. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, it would be hard to imagine that someone could actually use spatial teleportation. What race was the other party from? Until now, the two of them still couldn't figure out how someone in the death plane dared to provoke the Deathkin. This was simply courting death. From the beginning to the end, the two of them never thought that the other party was not from the Deathkin's native race, but from outside. For so many years, no one had dared to step into the death plane. Longao didn't continue to enter the Deathkin's territory. Instead, he quickly flew in the opposite direction. After dodging left and right, he finally escaped the pursuit of the two titled world kings. Only now did Longao let out a long sigh of relief. The most dangerous place was the safest place. Longao immediately returned to the place where the two of them had been cultivating. Even if you beat them to death, they probably wouldn't believe that he would be so bold as to return to their place of cultivation. Master, what are you doing here? Long Fu was very curious. This was the seal of the Starry Sky Ruler. Master couldn't have returned to break the seal, right? Being able to guess Long Fu's thoughts, Longao smiled and said, Long Fu, although I can't cultivate here and absorb the slaughter energy here, it doesn't mean that others can't. Starry Sky Corpse slaves? How could Long Fu not guess? This was because the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves didn't fear the slaughter energy at all. No matter how much slaughter energy they absorbed, it didn't matter. In fact, the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves could even borrow the slaughter energy here to break through to a higher realm. It had to be known that the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves were both true Starry Sky World Kings. If they could borrow the slaughter energy and continue to break through, then the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves could become Starry Sky World Kings. What sort of concept was this? That's right, these two Starry Sky Corpse slaves. At this time, if the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves can borrow the slaughter energy to break through from Starry Sky World King to Starry Sky World King, then it will be a great help to me. If my luck is good, then the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves can reach the titled World King realm in one go. This would depend on whether or not his luck was good. If the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves could really break through to the titled World King realm, then even if he entered the Deathkin's territory, his chances of successfully leaving would greatly increase. Master, you must be careful. You must not touch the seal. I understand. Regarding this point, Longao naturally knew it clearly. Without any hesitation, Longao immediately took out the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves from the Dragon Seal space. He prepared to let the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves absorb the slaughter energy in the surroundings, hoping that they could break through and become a Starry Sky World King or a titled World King. Master, although the two Starry Sky Corpse slaves can recklessly absorb the slaughter energy, there is still a consequence. Tell me about it. If the two Starry Sky Corp slaves really absorb the slaughter energy, then if they aren't careful, the two Starry Sky Corp slaves will be completely occupied by the slaughter energy and become Starry Sky Corp slaves. At that time, even Master would be afraid of the backlash. At that time, Master wouldn't be able to control the two Starry Sky Corp slaves. Chapter 21-26. How could Long Fu not understand Longao's intentions? This was an opportunity. Longao ultimately chose to devour the slaughter energy, hoping that the two Starry Skies Corp slaves would be able to break through smoothly. Longao arranged several arrays in the surroundings. Although they couldn't stop a Starry Skies World King or a titled World King, at least if someone came, the arrays would be much faster than sensing. Double insurance. The two Starry Skies Corp slaves' cultivation had already reached the peak of Starry Skies World King. They were only one step away from becoming a Starry Skies World King. Whether it was a Starry Skies Soul Slave or a Starry Skies Corp slave, it was very difficult to increase their strength. This was also the real reason why Longao didn't want to give up this opportunity. Longao didn't devour the slaughter energy. He was very afraid that he would be devoured by the slaughter energy. He didn't leave even an inch. Zhong Yi and Qian Lin searched everywhere for Longao's traces, but they still couldn't find him. The two didn't tell the Patriarch about this. In their opinion, even if the other party could teleport, he was just a mediocre person. They didn't even dare to fight him head-on. The two Starry Skies Corp slaves crazily devoured the slaughter energy around them, and their speed soared to the extreme. Success. Without any suspense, after devouring the enormous amount of slaughter energy, the two Starry Skies Corp slaves broke through at the same time, from Starry Skies World King to Starry Skies World King. Although it was only a breakthrough of one level, the difference in strength was like heaven and earth. Master, quickly stop. Longao, who was preparing to use the slaughter energy to make the two Starry Skies Corp slaves break through, abruptly stopped. Long Fu, what's wrong? Longao was very curious. According to his senses, even if the two Starry Skies Corp slaves continued to devour the slaughter energy, there wouldn't be much of a backlash. If that was the case, the two Starry Skies Corp slaves could completely break through from Starry Skies World King to titled World King if they continued to devour. If they really succeeded, then his chances of entering the death race would be much higher. Master, I also didn't expect that the two Starry Skies Corp slaves would need to devour such an enormous amount of slaughter energy. If they want to break through from Starry Skies World King to titled World King, they would need to devour at least 20 times as much as before. If that's the case, the slaughter seal will definitely break by itself. Longao was very clear about the concept of 20 times. No wonder Long Fu wanted to stop him. Although he was very unwilling in his heart, Longao did not continue. The strength of the Deathkin was there for all to see. If he were to break out of the seal, would he not become a sinner of the vast starry sky? Even so, Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. The two Starry Sky Corp slaves had both smoothly broken through to the Starry Sky World King realm. Then, even if they met a titled World King, they should be able to resist for a while. Now that he was done, he headed to the Death Clan. The base camp of the Death Clan was a mountain range that rose and fell continuously. The mountain in the middle was completely black. It was shrouded in black mist, as if it was draped in a black veil. Longao concealed his aura, evaded everyone, and quietly entered the Death Clan. But what was the result? Longao had just stepped into the mountain when two people appeared in front of him. You are really bold. The Patriarch invites you in. The two people who suddenly appeared were none other than the two titled World Kings who had been chasing after Longao, Qianlin and Zhong Yi. Longao did not know that this mountain had a very mysterious power. Unless one had the aura of death, they would definitely be discovered as soon as they stepped in. Unfortunately, Longao did not know about this. Although Longao was surprised, he followed the two people all the way. In a short while, he already arrived at the summit of the mountain. Inside a grand hall, there were only two people in the entire hall, one old and one young. Longao did not need to guess. He already knew who the old man and young man in front of him were. If he was not mistaken, the old man should be the patriarch of the Death Clan, Wang Pan, who was also a titled world king. The other person was Wang Pan's son, Wang Hong, the Starry Sky World Master. These were the people that Ruomu had asked him to kill. Ruomu did not mention the grudge between him and Wang Hong, so Longao did not ask, "How should I address you?" Wang Pan had a smile on his face, and there was no trace of savagery. According to Ruomu, this patriarch of the Death Clan was countless times more savage than all the previous patriarchs. Hiding a knife behind a smile? Black Wolf. Black Wolf, a good name. I am Wang Pan, and this is my son, Wang Hong. The two people who brought you here are two elders of my Death Clan, Elder Qinlin and Elder Zhongyi. The more Wang Pan acted like this, the more Longao was afraid. Who knew what this patriarch of the Death Clan was thinking? One had to know that in this hall, there were 3 titled world kings and 1 Starry Sky World Master. This force could not be underestimated. If there was any movement, he would immediately summon 2 Starry Sky Corpse slaves. Black Wolf, may I know which race you are from? Longao smiled. Of course, he wouldn't tell the truth. As long as he didn't say anything, Wang Pan and the others would never know his identity. For so many years, no stranger had ever entered the Death Plane. Thus, Wang Pan and the others would never know that he didn't belong to the Death Plane, but came from the vast starry sky outside. Patriarch Wang, it doesn't matter which race I'm from. I'm here for one thing. As long as Patriarch Wang can give it to me, I will leave immediately. Hearing him, everybody laughed. Wang Hong, who had been silent all this time, said mockingly, "Black Wolf, why do you want our Death Clan's item? Because you're a Starry Sky Territory ancestor?" In front of the mighty Death Clan, a Starry Sky Territory ancestor was nothing. He was no different from an ant. The 4 of them couldn't figure it out. A small Starry Sky Territory ancestor wanted to use space teleportation to steal something from the Death Clan? He didn't know his place. Why do I want it? I want to say that this item is mine. It's natural for me to take it back. Wang Pan stopped Wang Hong, who was about to say more. He smiled and said, "I want to know what you want." Being the patriarch of the Death Clan, Wang Pan wasn't simple. He was curious. Did the other have something to rely on? The competence of the Death Clan was well known. In the Death Plane, no one had ever dared to act so presumptuously. Black Wolf was the first one. A drop of bloodline. A drop of bloodline? Wang Pan was curious. It seemed that the clan didn't have such a thing. Did the other do it on purpose to trouble the clan? It shouldn't be possible. Even if the other had something to rely on, he wouldn't do that. It was just seeking his own death. The more it was so, the more curious Wang Pan was. He said, "Black Wolf, my Death Clan doesn't have what you want. Are you mistaken?" Even Longao wasn't sure if the Death Clan had such a thing or not. P.S. Copy the 3rd chapter. Chapter 21-27. According to Feng Xiu, when the Body Clan was destroyed, their clan treasure was sent to the Death Plane. The Death Clan's clan treasure was a drop of blood from the ancestor of the Body Clan. According to the legends, this drop of blood might be useless to others, but it was very useful to the Body Clan. If Feng Xiu could obtain this drop of blood, his cultivation would continue to rise and reach the legendary realm. It was still unknown whether or not the blood of the main body had entered the Death Plane and entered the Death Race. What if it had entered another clan? However, Longao was very clear that no matter whether the Body Clan's blood was in the Death Clan or not, he had already entered the Death Clan. Clan Head Wang, I only wish to retrieve this drop of blood if you are not willing to hand it over. What do you want? Wang Pan asked curiously. For so many years, no one had dared to question him like this. There was no second person in the entire Death Plane who dared to do this in front of him. He had to admit that the other party's courage was beyond words. He was very arrogant. At this moment, before Longao could speak, Wang Pan suddenly smiled and said, "Black Wolf, is this the drop of blood you want?" Wang Pan took out a drop of blood. It was red and black and had already solidified. This was the Body Clan's clan treasure. Longao felt very helpless. If the Body Clan's blood was somewhere else, he might still have a chance. But now, The body clan's blood was in Wang Pan's hands. How could he snatch this drop of blood from a titled world king? He didn't have the slightest confidence. This is mine. Kill. Wang Pan was very impatient. Just as he finished speaking, Zhong Yi and Qian Lin suddenly attacked. The attacks of two titled world kings were no small matter. Even Longao didn't dare to face them head-on. The two Starry Sky Corpse slaves instantly appeared. Longao didn't hesitate and immediately retreated. With spatial teleportation, Longao's figure quickly disappeared from the hall. If Longao was alone, it would be very difficult for him to fight against two titled world kings and leave smoothly. Although the two corpse slaves had the strength of a Starry Sky world king, their advantage lay in their undying bodies. They were able to resist the attacks of two titled world kings. Not only did they not die, but they also managed to survive. Longao took advantage of this opportunity to leave. Not simple. Wang Pan sneered. Looking at the blood in his hand, he muttered to himself, could it be the body race? Of course, Wang Pan knew what the drop of blood in his hand meant. This drop of blood was the supreme treasure of the body clan. Back then, the strength of the body clan was comparable to the death clan. However, the luck of the body clan was extremely bad. Not only were they wiped out, but there was only one person left in the entire clan. Chapter 21-28. Longao was most concerned about whether there was a Starry Sky World Emperor or a titled World Emperor in the heaven-devouring empire. There should be. As expected, Longao had already guessed it. Since there were existences above the titled World King, how could there not be a Starry Sky World Emperor or a titled World Emperor in the heaven-devouring empire? He had thought. He had successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor and was only a step away from becoming a Starry Sky World King or even a titled World King. But now, there was always someone better than you. It turned out that he was still a frog in a well. It would be unrealistic to say that he wasn't depressed. However, Longao quickly regained his composure and didn't continue to dwell on this question. So what if there was a Starry Sky World Emperor? So what if there was a titled World Emperor? Longao was confident that with his talent and hard work, he would definitely be able to become a Starry Sky World Emperor and break through to the titled World Emperor. Longao seemed to have thought of something and asked, Senior Feng, is there a Starry Sky World Emperor in the Death Clan? I don't know. Don't know? What did that mean? Longao, there's something you don't know. Back then, the Death Clan, including my body clan and the Luan clan, were all extremely powerful clans in the vast Starry Sky. At their peak, there were thousands of Starry Sky World Emperors and titled World Emperors. I was startled by the grass. Longao knew very well what it meant to have more than 1,000 Starry Sky World Emperors and titled World Emperors. It was no wonder that the three major clans could run amok in the vast universe. With such terrifying strength, the heaven-devouring empire was nothing in the eyes of the three major clans. However, the three major clans were besieged by all the forces and all the experts died. As for whether there was a Starry Sky World Emperor in the Death Clan, I'm not sure. I see. Longao now knew why Feng Xiu was so anxious about this drop of blood. However, it was more out of curiosity. Senior Feng, since this drop of blood can help you break through to the titled World Emperor, why didn't the body clan give it to you? Why did they throw it into the death plane? He couldn't figure it out. At the mention of this, Feng Xiu sighed deeply. Longao, our body clan is also helpless. Longao could clearly sense that Feng Xiu had his own difficulties, so he didn't continue asking, Senior Feng, the blood is now in Wang Pan's hands. With my strength, it would be impossible for me to take it by force. He had no idea where to start. Even if he risked his life, it was impossible for him to obtain the blood. What should he do? In any case, Longao had no countermeasures at all. However, things had already come to this point. If he were to give up now, it would be a little too unkind. Moreover, he was willing to befriend Feng Xiu. Longao, if you don't mind, you can call me Big Brother Feng in the future, and I'll call you Brother Long. How about that? Big Brother Feng. Without the slightest hesitation, Longao directly called out Big Brother Feng. Brother Long, you're right. With the strength of Wang Pan and the Death Clan, you won't be able to get the blood if you fight them head-on. As for me, I can't show myself here either. Even Feng Xiu felt a little helpless. Even if the Death Clan was almost completely destroyed, after countless years of cultivation, their strength was still not to be underestimated. Not to mention Longao, even if the heaven-devouring empire came, they wouldn't be a match for the Death Clan. From this, one could imagine how powerful the Death Clan was. Brother Long, if you can trick Wang Pan and the others into my body plane, then even if the other party is a titled world king, I'm confident I can kill them. The current Feng Xiu was already a Starry Sky world king. In a one-on-one fight, under normal circumstances, Feng Xiu definitely wouldn't be a match for a titled world king. However, if a titled world king entered Feng Xiu's body plane, with Feng Xiu's strength and the body plane's strength, he could kill them. Longao wasn't as excited as he imagined. He wasn't a fool, and neither was Wang Pan. How could they be so easily tricked into entering the body plane? After chatting with Feng Xiu for a while, Longao prepared to continue staying. If he wanted to stay without being discovered, there was only one way, and that was to have the aura of death in his body. To others, this might be very difficult, but to Longao, it wasn't a problem. The method was simple. Long Fu would first devour the aura of death and store it in his dragon seal space. This way, as long as he met someone, Longao's dragon seal space would automatically release the aura of death. This way, it would be very difficult for anyone to discover anything wrong with him. There were at least several 100,000 members of the Death Clan, and even more ordinary people. After Longao disguised himself, even Wang Pan wouldn't be able to recognize him as long as he didn't make a move. After thinking about it, Longao decided to deal with Wang Hong first. Wang Hong was just a Starry Sky sector lord. Even if it wasn't the body plane, without Feng Xiu's help, he could still kill the other party with his strength. Not to mention, he also had 2 Starry Sky corpse slaves. If he wanted to destroy Wang Hong, it would be a matter of minutes. Now, the 2 Starry Sky corpse slaves were no longer Starry Sky sector lords, but genuine Starry Sky sector kings. Any one of them could easily deal with Wang Hong. He took a drop of Ruan Mu's water for nothing. If he didn't kill Wang Hong, wouldn't he be very unkind? Longao was very careful. Although he had found a way to store the aura of death, he still didn't dare to be careless. Chapter 21-29. Longao's intuition told him that this matter wasn't so simple. Ruomu? Wang Hong was surprised to hear Lin Ming mention Ruomu. Are you from the Ruo water tribe? No. Longao thought for a moment and said, Ruomu wants me to kill you. Wang Hong wasn't surprised at all. She smiled and said, so that's how it is. It seems that you aren't very familiar with Ruomu. Otherwise, you wouldn't be unaware of his situation. If my guess isn't wrong, you shouldn't be from the death plane. There was a hidden meaning in her words. Was there really a problem with Ruomu? Since things had reached this point, Longao didn't hide it any longer. In his opinion, Wang Hong would undoubtedly die this time. The dead wouldn't reveal secrets. That's right. I'm from the outside. As for my purpose, I believe you already know. Longao had already stated that it was for this drop of blood. Wang Hong's attitude calmed down instead. Ruomu not only swallowed the slaughter energy, he was also devoured by the slaughter energy and became a tool of slaughter. For so many years, if it wasn't for our death tribe restraining Ruomu, I believe the death plane would have been plunged into misery and suffering. So that's how it was. Longao sat down and listened quietly. Wang Hong, are you saying that Ruomu deliberately asked me to restrain you so that he could continue swallowing the slaughter energy? That's right. The slaughter seal has already been sealed by us. It's impossible for Ruomu to swallow the slaughter energy. Wang Hong's face was very gloomy, as ugly as it could get. She said helplessly, Black Wolf, Ruomu's cultivation has already broken through to the peak of the titled World King realm. If he continues to swallow the slaughter energy, he can use it to break through to the Starry Sky World Emperor realm. Do you know what this means? Of course he knew. Longao felt uncomfortable in his heart. He didn't think that Ruomu wanted him to kill Wang Hong, so that he could borrow a knife to kill her. Ruomu's ultimate goal was to continue swallowing the slaughter energy. In this situation, should he kill Wang Hong or not? If he really did kill her, wouldn't he be letting Ruomu take advantage of him? Longao didn't believe Ruomu. She didn't believe Wang Hong either. Until now, Longao still didn't know who was real and who was fake. It was really an unknown. Seeing that Black Wolf was silent, Wang Hong smiled and said, "Black Wolf, I know that you won't believe my one-sided story. I can pretend that I didn't see anything. You can leave the Death Clan and ask around." Hearing this, Longao believed Wang Hong's words. It seemed like there was something wrong with Weakwood. "Wang Hong, there is no grudge between me and the Death Clan, so there is no need for us to fight to the death. As I said before, as long as the Death Clan is willing to return my blood, I will leave immediately." "Impossible." Longao's face instantly turned cold. "Black Wolf, this drop of blood is the most precious treasure of the body race. Although it is useless to our race, we cannot give it to you." It turned out that the death race also knew about the body race. He believed that Wang Hong and Wang Pan knew that he wasn't from the body race. "Black Wolf, as long as you promise me one thing, I will give you the blood of the body race. How about it?" At this moment, the patriarch of the Death Clan, Wang Hong's father, Wang Pan, appeared with two titled world kings. "What is it?" Of course, Longao wouldn't agree immediately. What if Wang Pan committed suicide? Would he really commit suicide? Wang Pan smiled and said, "It's very simple. As long as you help me kill Ruomu, I will give you this drop of blood." Kill Ruomu? Longao was depressed. Ruomu wanted him to kill Wang Hong, and Wang Pan wanted him to kill Ruomu. They killed each other as if he was omnipotent. Longao couldn't understand. Ruomu was a titled world king, and Wang Pan was also a titled world king. He was just a starry sky territory ancestor. The two of them had already sensed it. So why did they still want him to do it? "Why do you want me to do it?" "Because you are a mysterious person. To tell you the truth, although Ruomu is the only titled world king in the Weakwater clan, this person has slaughter energy. It is very difficult for us to kill him." Wang Pan's meaning was very clear. Ruomu had already swallowed the slaughter energy and suffered a backlash from it. If there were no accidents, Wang Pan would break through to the Starry Sky Territory Master Realm if he continued to swallow the slaughter energy. At that time, no one in the Death Clan, including the people of the Death Plane, would be a match for Ruomu. Longao was very unhappy. Whether it was Ruomu or the Death Clan, what did it have to do with him? "I don't want to ask about the grudges between you. I also don't want to care. This time, I entered the Death Clan because a friend asked me to take back the treasure of the body race." As soon as he finished speaking, Longao took out a water droplet from his chest. This water droplet emitted waves of slaughter energy. The power left behind by the Starry Sky ruler of slaughter. Wang Pan and the others were completely stunned. They knew what this water droplet meant. If Longao swallowed this water droplet, his strength would instantly skyrocket. At that time, even if the Death Clan could kill him, they would suffer heavy losses. "Ruomu gave this to you?" "That's right." Wang Pan and the others had already guessed Ruomu's intentions. He wanted to borrow the power of the Black Wolf to deal with the Death Clan and swallow the slaughter energy. This way, the Death Clan would become very passive. Wang Pan didn't think that things would develop to this point. "Longao, how about exchanging the blood in my hand for the slaughter water droplet?" Chapter 2130. Wang Pan was also a straightforward person. The two of them didn't play any tricks. They exchanged for what they needed. "Black Wolf, if you don't mind, why don't you stay for a few more days?" He had ill intentions. How could Longao stay? In any case, he had already obtained the blood. "Thank you for your good intentions. Goodbye." Looking at the departing figure, Zhongyi coldly said, "Patriarch, are we just going to let this person leave like this?" To the death race, this was a great humiliation. "Seal the entrance. I want to see what this person and Ruomu are up to." Wang Pan certainly didn't believe Longao. He was only afraid of the water droplet and didn't dare to casually attack. Heaven Martial World. Currently, no one had discovered the heaven martial world. As long as Master Godly Diviner wanted to, the heaven martial world could hide from anyone's senses. Starry Sky Mystic Realm. Ever since Yigudu entered the Starry Sky Mystic Realm, he had smoothly broken through to the titled World King Realm in a short year. As for Longbatian and Heavenway, according to Master Godly Diviner's plan, they would at most be able to reach the Starry Sky World King Realm. But now, in order to have the two of them help Yigudu enter the vast Starry Sky, Master Godly Diviner finally decided to have the two of them swallow a titled World King's godhead and break through to the titled World King realm. In other words, Yigudu, Longbatian, and Heavenway had all smoothly broken through to the titled World King realm. Outer Sea, within the Crystal Palace. Thank you, Lord. Longbatian was pleasantly surprised. He never imagined that he would be able to break through to the titled World King realm because of Master Godly Diviner. How could he not be grateful? As for Heavenway, he said, "Thank you. If there is a chance in the future, I will definitely repay you." Hearing this, Master Godly Diviner wasn't surprised at all. "You've awakened?" "That's right. If it wasn't for your help, I wouldn't have awakened so quickly." Master Godly Diviner seemed very satisfied. "For so many years, you've been reincarnating again and again, opposing me at every turn. That wasn't my original intention." Before Master Godly Diviner could finish speaking, Heavenway spoke. The current heavenly Tao seemed to have become another person. The aura on his body was faintly discernible, and it was very strange. Yidugu, who was at the side, was very shocked. He seemed to have guessed something, and his face was filled with disbelief. He had never thought that the identity of the Sky Law would be so domineering. At this moment, Yidugu finally understood why, with the strength of the Way of the Heavens, he had repeatedly caused trouble for his father, but his father had endured it again and again. So this was the reason. "This is something that belongs to you." A white stone tablet appeared in Master God Diviner's hand, and he tossed it toward the heavenly Tao. Master Godly Diviner's short words revealed the heavenly Tao's identity. He was one of the 12 rulers of the universe, the Space Starry Sky ruler. As for Master Godly Diviner, Longbatian had already guessed that if he wasn't wrong, then the strongest powerhouse of the martial heaven continent, the hidden ruler of the universe, should be the Divine Divination Starry Sky ruler. What he possessed was the Divine Divination Starry Sky ruler. "Dugu, your cultivation has already broken through to the titled World King realm. You will have to walk the rest of the path by yourself. If you rely on me to make breakthroughs, then you will only be able to do so in the future." Speaking to here, Master Godly Diviner didn't continue. Instead, he changed the topic. "The two of you will enter the vast starry sky soon. Remember, only through life and death experiences can you make better breakthroughs." Yidugu seemed to be a bit impatient. He said, "Father, don't worry. I definitely won't disappoint you." After speaking, Yidugu and Longbatian turned and left. The two of them were titled World Kings. Once they joined forces, unless the Starry Sky World Emperor or a titled World Emperor personally came, no one would be able to kill them. It was because of this that the two of them were so confident. As for Longbatian, he was well aware that he was nothing more than a chess piece of Master Godly Diviner. He had no freedom at all. This was because everything he had was given to him by Master Godly Diviner. If Master Godly Diviner could give him something, then he could also take it back. Perhaps no one would be able to guess that Master Godly Diviner and the Heavenly Tao were both rulers of the starry sky. It was just that the two of them had gone through a long samsara, and only now had they awakened. Author's note: the third chapter has been delivered. The plot that everyone wants to see is about to begin. The 12 rulers of the starry sky will appear one by one, as well as the Samsara clan and the Death clan. As for Xiling and Bailing, Little Nine will arrange for them to appear as soon as possible. Chapter 2131. Only the divine mathematician was left in the Crystal Palace. "I hope I don't fail this time." After leaving the Crystal Palace, Tian Dao didn't stay in the Sky Martial continent. Although he had awakened his primordial spirit and devoured the spatial primal chaos tablet, it wasn't easy for him to return to his peak state. If he continued to stay in the Sky Martial continent, who knew what would happen? In the end, Tian Dao didn't trust the divine mathematician. As soon as Tian Dao reached the peak of the 9 heavens, the seal automatically opened. Tian Dao left the Sky Martial plane. Tian Dao left? Hearing Tian Dao's voice transmission, everyone was shocked. They didn't know why Tian Dao would choose to leave the Sky Martial plane. What happened? What happened? In the vast starry sky, looking at the countless planes in front of him, Tian Dao's expression became extremely strange. According to his estimation, it would take him hundreds of years to refine the spatial primal chaos tablet and return his cultivation to the starry sky ruler realm. Hundreds of years, for him, would pass in the blink of an eye. The death plane, Longao, who had just left, was locked onto by Ruamu. Longao, you didn't keep your word. Since you took my things but didn't kill Wang Hong, I want to ask you, what is the meaning of this? No meaning. I don't want to ask about the grudges between you. As for your things, you tricked me first. You can't blame me. He was very surprised. Ruamu raised his head and looked at Longao. It seems you have guessed my identity. If I'm not wrong, you should be the Starry Sky Ruler realm. Am I right? Even Longao himself didn't dare to make such a guess. The 12 Starry Sky Rulers should have all fallen. However, as the matter developed, he boldly guessed that this patriarch of the Ruo clan should be the legendary Starry Sky Ruler realm. Strictly speaking, Ruamu should be the reincarnation of the Starry Sky Ruler realm. It was just that he was a titled world king and had yet to return to his peak state. Ha ha ha, you are very smart. You actually guessed my identity. Not bad, not bad. Ruamu's words showed that Longao's guess was correct. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't shocked. Longao knew full well what it meant to kill a ruler of the starry sky. Longao couldn't figure it out. Since the Massacre Star Dominator had sealed the death plane, why didn't he destroy the Deathkin in the first place? Why did he cause so much trouble for himself? You don't have to guess. I can tell you. Ruamu didn't waste any time either. He roughly recounted what had happened back then. So that was how it was. Back then, the 12 dominators of the starry sky had all perished and were reincarnated, hoping to obtain greater opportunities. The Death Clan suddenly rose to power, but they were annihilated by the combined forces of the major forces. He didn't know if it was his bad luck. Chapter 2132. Longao had never imagined that Longmia would appear at this time. Longmia? Even Ruamu and Xian Tong were shocked to see Longmia. Ruamu, long time no see. I trust you've been well. Ruamu smiled. It's hard to imagine that you two rulers of the starry sky would find the same person. A ruler of the starry sky? Longmia was a ruler of the starry sky? Longao was completely dumbfounded. He had thought of countless possibilities regarding Longmia's identity, but he had never imagined that Longmia would be a ruler of the starry sky. Then which ruler was Longmia? The 5 rulers of the starry sky, the devouring starry sky, the lightning starry sky, the space starry sky, the time starry sky, the destruction starry sky, the reincarnation starry sky, the slaughter starry sky, the divination starry sky, the sword will starry sky, the indestructible tyrant body starry sky, and the darkness starry sky. Now the slaughter starry sky and the indestructible tyrant body starry sky had appeared. Ruamu, do you think you're a match for us? Weakwood's face was very gloomy, as ugly as it could get. The mountains will not change, and the rivers will flow forever. Farewell. Ruamu didn't linger. He knew that Black Wolf had 2 rulers of the starry sky backing him. It would be very difficult for him to kill him. Xian Tong, the slaughter starry sky is too ambitious. We have to be more careful in the future. Xian Tong nodded in agreement. Senior, what's going on? Longao's intuition told him that this matter wasn't as simple as it seemed. Longao, I trust you've already guessed it. Back then, all 12 of us died and entered the reincarnation path. As the ruler of the reincarnation starry sky, I controlled the power of reincarnation, So my reincarnation was smoother than theirs. So it was the ruler of the reincarnation starry sky, the slaughter starry sky, the indestructible tyrant body starry sky, and the reincarnation starry sky. He had already seen 3 rulers of the starry sky. Was his luck good or bad? After countless reincarnations, I finally entered the martial heaven continent, which is the ancestral hall you're in, and found you. Longao didn't say anything. Longao, don't worry. I have no ill will toward you. As long as you can help us obtain a great opportunity, you'll definitely become a ruler in the future. Was it really possible? According to the legend, the vast starry sky had a total of 12 dominators of the starry sky. They were the dominator of the 5 elements starry sky, the dominator of the devouring starry sky, the dominator of the lightning starry sky, the dominator of the space starry sky, the dominator of the time starry sky, the dominator of the destruction starry sky, the dominator of the reincarnation starry sky, the dominator of the slaughter starry sky, the dominator of the divination starry sky, the dominator of the sword intent starry sky, the dominator of the immortal tyrant body starry sky, and the dominator of the dark starry sky. For countless years, there had never been a 13th ruler of the stars. However, Longao didn't take it seriously. His strength was no match for the starry sky prime minister. Should he refuse? He seemed to have thought of something. Senior, there's something I can't figure out. I hope you can help me. Blood demon? That's right. Blood demon was the artifact spirit of the blood pool. According to Long Fu, the blood demon's strength was incomparably powerful. Back then, even with the dragon seal's peak strength, he was barely able to suppress the blood demon. From this, one could imagine how powerful the blood demon was. Could it be the blood devil? Looks like you've already guessed it. Senior, may I know which ruler of the stars blood demon is? Longao was extremely shocked. He didn't expect to meet 2 rulers of the stars at the same time. He didn't know anything about it before. If Longmia was the ruler of the Samsara starry sky, then which ruler was the blood demon? It was unlikely that the slaughter starry sky prime minister was among the 12 rulers of the stars. Before Longao could continue thinking, Longmia said, "The blood demon is the destruction starry sky prime minister." The destruction starry sky prime minister. As expected, Longao had already guessed that the blood demon was most likely the destruction starry sky prime minister. This was because the slaughter starry sky prime minister and the destruction starry sky prime minister were the 2 most powerful killers. Since the blood demon wasn't the slaughter starry sky prime minister, there was no doubt that he was the so-called destruction starry sky prime minister. When the blood demon was reincarnated, his killing became more and more uncontrollable. I had no choice but to seal him. I didn't expect him to break the seal in the end. I hope he can control his killing. Otherwise, I'm afraid the vast starry sky will be plunged into misery and suffering. There was nothing he could do to help. Longao knew very well what the destruction starry sky prime minister meant. Even the other rulers of the stars couldn't stop the destruction starry sky prime minister, let alone himself. Longmia had used the dragon seal to seal the blood demon, but what had happened in the end? In the end, the blood demon had broken the seal and escaped. From this, one could imagine how powerful the blood demon was. However, Longao knew one thing very well. The 12 rulers of the stars had all fallen and entered the cycle of reincarnation. It wouldn't be easy for even a ruler of the stars to completely refine his own chaos tablet and restore his strength. Xin Tong had already disappeared and returned to the black iron fragment. Longao, are you a little slow to react? Longao nodded helplessly and said, Senior, to be honest, I never thought that there would be 2 rulers of the starry sky by my side. By the way, Senior, I want to ask, is the godly mathematician a ruler of the starry sky? If his guess was correct, then the heaven martial plane alone had 3 rulers of the stars. One was Longmia, the so-called reincarnation starry sky prime minister. The other was the blood demon, the destruction starry sky prime minister. If the god diviner was also a ruler of the stars, then there was no doubt that the martial heaven continent had 3 rulers of the stars. Your guess is correct. The god diviner is a ruler of the stars, and his chaos tablet is the god diviner. The god diviner was a ruler of the stars. It seemed his guess had been correct. Longao knew that if the God Diviner wasn't a ruler of the stars, he wouldn't have been so fearless. Longao, it's not just the God Diviner. The martial heaven plane has other rulers of the stars. Longao jumped in shock. Not counting the Slaughter Starry Sky Prime Minister and the Undying Tyrant Body Starry Sky Prime Minister, there were already 3 rulers of the stars. No matter how he thought about it, Longao couldn't figure out who the other ruler of the stars was. Senior, may I ask who this person is? The Heavenly Das. Longao almost choked on his own saliva. He had never imagined that the other ruler of the stars of the martial heaven continent would be the Heavenly Das. How was that possible? If the Heavenly Das were the rulers of the stars, how could the God Diviner allow them to stay by his side? The Heavenly Das are the rulers of space and the stars. However, when they reincarnated, the God Diviner sealed their Yuan spirit. If my guess is correct, the Heavenly Das still don't know that the God Diviner sealed their Yuan spirit. Chapter 21:33. Including the Heavenly Tao ruler, the martial heaven continent had a total of 4 rulers of the starry sky. Longao was shocked. He had already encountered 6 rulers of the starry sky. They were the space ruler, divine divination ruler, samsara ruler, destruction ruler, slaughter ruler, and the indestructible tyrant body ruler. Longao, there's another ruler of the starry sky. No matter how calm Longao was, hearing that there was another ruler of the starry sky was unbearable. If that was the case, didn't that mean the martial heaven continent had 5 rulers of the starry sky? Could it be Longbatian? Other than Longbatian, there didn't seem to be anyone else. Senior, could it be Longbatian? No, not Longbatian. If it wasn't Longbatian, then who could it be? Longao, this ruler of the starry sky is very close to you. Could it be Xiling? Longao found it hard to believe. He hadn't expected Xiling to be a ruler of the starry sky. He had thought of many possibilities. Xiling was very powerful, but he was also a ruler of the starry sky. Could it be the sword intent ruler of the starry sky? That's right. It's Xiling, the sword intent ruler of the starry sky. Including Violet Spirit, the sword intent starry sky ruler, Longao had seen 7 starry sky rulers. However, there were only 12 starry sky rulers in the entire vast starry sky. The remaining 5 were the 5 elements ruler of the starry sky, the devouring ruler of the starry sky, the lightning ruler of the starry sky, the time ruler of the starry sky, and the darkness ruler of the starry sky. His luck was a bit too good. Others would find it extremely difficult to see even one of the rulers of the starry sky. But what about himself? Not only had he seen 1 ruler of the starry sky, but he had also seen 7 rulers of the starry sky. That was especially true of Xiling, the Heavenly Tao, and the Divine Mathematician. They had completely exceeded Longao's expectations. Even now, he hadn't realized that the 3 of them were the legendary rulers of the starry sky. Even so, Longao was still very worried about Xiling and Bai Ling's safety. If Xiling had been at his peak, he wouldn't have been worried at all. But now, the situation was completely different. Xiling and Bai Ling's true bodies were dead. Their Yuan spirits were heavily injured. If they encountered experts, they wouldn't be able to resist. In the end, the 2 of them were still in danger. No matter what, he had to find them as soon as possible. A day without finding the 2 people, Longao was endlessly worried. Sky Dao ruler of the starry skies, heaven destruction worlds, dragon sky, Dao dragon, long long, Lulua, Dao ruler heaven death sky. Luo Luan long long Luo Dao Luo. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Long Mie said helplessly, the secret of the sky martial continent, let alone us, I believe that even the godly mathematician does not know. However, the sky martial continent is definitely not simple. Once I recover my peak strength, I will definitely return to the sky martial continent. Long Luo didn't seem to be lying. It seemed the heaven martial continent really wasn't simple. If 1 or 2 rulers of the starry sky had appeared in the heaven martial continent, it might have made sense. But now, so many rulers of the starry sky had appeared in the same plane. In the vast starry sky, there were countless planes. How could the rulers of the starry sky casually descend on a plane? Long Luo returned to the dragon seal, leaving Long Ao alone. Either he didn't know, or Long Ao wouldn't be able to digest all of this information. Long Ao, come in. Finding a secluded place, Long Ao's Yuan spirit entered the black iron fragment. Senior, do you need me for something? Long Ao, I'm also very curious. I don't know why you have so many rulers of the starry sky around you, but I have to tell you that your situation is very dangerous. Long Ao could clearly sense that this ruler of the starry sky didn't have the slightest malice toward him. Senior, what should I do? You've already been drawn into this conflict. It's impossible for you to escape. You have to confirm whether or not you can truly devour the primal chaos tablets. What did that mean? In just an instant, Long Ao had already understood what the other party meant. The 12 primal chaos tablets corresponded to the 12 rulers of the starry sky. Each ruler of the starry sky had their own tablet. Even if they died, their tablets couldn't be refined by others. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for no one to refine them after all these years. Senior, I'm not sure. Xian Tong sighed helplessly. That's where the trouble lies. If you can refine the tablets, with my help, you could very well become the new ruler of the starry sky. However, Devour can't die just like that. If he succeeds in reincarnation, the tablets will automatically disappear. Then, you won't have any chance. Senior, I'd like to ask, are the 12 rulers of the starry sky immortal? Or can they truly die? This was the key. According to legend, no one other than the 12 rulers of the starry sky could achieve true immortality. If the 12 rulers of the starry sky were truly immortal, then there was no need for him to continue refining the tablets. If the rulers of the starry sky died, then he still had a chance. I can only tell you that no one in the vast universe can achieve true immortality. Although Xian Tong didn't say it explicitly, his meaning was clear. Even the 12 rulers of the starry sky couldn't achieve true immortality. If that was the case, then he still had a chance. When the 12 of us chose to die and enter the cycle of reincarnation, I believe that most of us have already succeeded. Since you've obtained the tablet of Devour and it hasn't disappeared even now, it can only mean that Devour hasn't successfully reincarnated. Long Ao, you must hurry. I understand. It was easy to say, but it was incomparably difficult to do. How could it be so easy to refine the Devour Primal Chaos Stone tablet? Long Ao was very clear in his heart that his chances of successfully refining the Devour Primal Chaos Stone tablet was less than 1 in 10,000. Even if his luck was good, such a thing was a little ridiculous. Not only that, but even now, he couldn't be sure whether the ruler of the starry sky had truly died. If he hadn't and reincarnated, then he wouldn't be able to keep the tablet. At that time, all his efforts would have been for naught. Long Ao, you must be careful of Long Mia. Senior, if you have something to say, then say it. Long Ao could sense that Xian Tong was implying something. Was there something fishy about Long Mia? If Long Mia hadn't chosen him, then he would still be a piece of trash in Scarlet Fire Town. Chapter 2134. I can't say much. Just be careful. Xian Tong obviously didn't want to say more, so Long Ao didn't ask. After leaving the black iron fragment, Long Ao looked helpless. Godly mathematician, Tian Dao, and Xilinx identities had been exposed, making him very depressed. He had thought his cultivation had smoothly broken through to the starry sky territory ancestor realm and that it would be easy for him to destroy Tian Dao. But he didn't expect Tian Dao's identity to be so domineering. It turned out that he was the ruler of the starry sky and could control the power of space. Even if he became a titled world emperor, he wouldn't be a match for Tian Dao. The ruler of the starry sky was the true supreme existence in the vast starry sky. Leave the death plane? He had already helped Fengxiu get the blood. Even if he stayed, it wouldn't be of much use. As for Fengxiu, now that he had devoured the blood, if nothing unexpected happened, Fengxiu would most likely become a starry sky territory emperor. After thinking about it, Long Ao finally decided to leave the death plane. At the entrance, just as Long Ao was about to leave, he helplessly found that the entrance had been sealed. Without a doubt, the person who sealed it must be Wang Pan. Since Longmia and Xian Tong had appeared at the same time, Shalua wouldn't attack him, at least not now. Black Wolf, you're finally willing to show up. At this moment, dozens of figures appeared at the same time. The patriarch of the Death Clan, Wang Pan, Wang Hong, and a total of 10 titled world kings were all present. Wang Pan, there is no enmity between you and me. Since our deal has been successful, why seal the entrance? Longao knew very well what the other party meant. Burning the bridge after crossing the river and going back on his words. Black Wolf, if I'm not wrong, you should know Ruamu's true identity. Do you think I'll let you go? Since things had already come to this, Longao didn't hide anything. Wang Pan, you should know what you're doing now. If you don't succeed, not only you, but the entire Death Clan will suffer. Ruamu was the ruler of the starry sky. It was just that he couldn't return to his peak state. Once Ruamu's strength returned to being the ruler of the starry sky, he knew what it meant. You don't have to worry about this. Since the Death Clan chose to do this, we've thought of the consequences. Wang Pan was not a fool. Of course, he knew how risky this was. If he succeeded, he would be able to devour the astral ruler's primordial spirit and become the new astral ruler. What would that mean? If he didn't succeed, then not only would he not be able to devour the astral ruler's primordial spirit, but his entire race would be wiped out. Take a gamble. Incurable. Longao was almost certain that Wang Pan would not be able to successfully kill Ruamu. If he could, why would Wang Pan wait for so long? It was definitely impossible. Countless years ago, Ruamu was at his weakest. Wang Pan and the others were still unable to succeed, let alone now or in the future. It was almost impossible to succeed. Black Wolf, as long as you promise me 2 things, I can spare your life. Tell me. Longao was very curious. He wanted to hear what Wang Pan wanted him to do. It's simple. First, you join the Deathkin. I won't treat you badly. Second, you help me deal with the Slaughter Star Dominator. When we're done, I won't forget about you. How about that? The first thing was very simple. As for the second thing, it was a fool's dream. Longao smiled. He had seen people who didn't care about their lives, but he had never seen such a reckless person. Although the temptation of devouring the astral ruler's primordial spirit was too great, he still knew his limits. Do you think I'll agree? You won't agree? Wang Pan asked back, full of confidence. Because with the Deathkin's strength, it would be easy to kill the other party. Step by step, the 11 titled world kings released their terrifying auras, suppressing the other party. As long as the other party refused, they would not hesitate to deal with Black Wolf. At this moment, Ruamu's figure suddenly appeared. Seeing Ruamu, Wang Pan and the others' expressions changed. They retreated again and again. It would be a lie to say that they weren't afraid. No matter what, Ruamu was still the astral ruler. Even if he hadn't recovered his peak strength, he was still the astral ruler. A bunch of trash. Ruamu smiled mockingly, not putting them in his eyes at all. If his cultivation hadn't been stagnant and he hadn't been able to break the seal, he wouldn't have waited for so many years. The enmity between you has nothing to do with me. Longao didn't want to intervene in the enmity between the astral ruler and the Deathkin. Whoever lived or died had nothing to do with him. He only had one request, and that was to leave the death plane. You may leave. Hearing Ruamu's words, Longao was curious. Could it be that Ruamu had changed his nature? Wang Pan, please. Wang Pan's expression changed again and again. Even now, he wasn't sure what this Black Wolf's identity was. He didn't seem simple. If he acted rashly and Black Wolf joined forces with Ruamu, wouldn't he be in a passive position? Open the seal. Wang Pan didn't want to take the risk. His target was Ruamu. There was no need to provoke Black Wolf. If Black Wolf wasn't simple, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Goodbye. Longao didn't hesitate. As soon as the seal was opened, he immediately chose to leave. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. Looking at the disappearing figure, Ruamu's lips slowly curved into a cold smile. He muttered to himself, "You will come back." Ruamu, my request is very simple. As long as you are willing to hand over the Slaughter Chaos Tablet, the enmity between us will be written off. After I refine the Slaughter Chaos Tablet, I will open the seal and let you devour the Slaughter energy. How about it? Ruamu wasn't a fool. He knew what the Slaughter Chaos Tablet meant. If he lost the Slaughter Primal Chaos Tablet, even if he could continue absorbing Slaughter energy, what was the point? The Slaughter Primal Chaos Tablet was his lifeblood. He could die, but the Slaughter Primal Chaos Tablet absolutely could not be refined by others. Although it was almost impossible for others to refine his Primal Chaos Tablet, there were always exceptions. What if Wang Pan was able to refine the Slaughter Primal Chaos Tablet? What would he do then? Ruamu sneered. Wang Pan, you have sealed the land of massacre for so many years. Isn't it because you want to devour my Primal Chaos Tablet of massacre? I can tell you now. Stop dreaming. Is that so? Ruamu, let's wait and see. I hope you don't disappoint me. Looking at Ruamu's departing figure, Wang Pan sneered. He had to admit that Wang Pan and the Deathkin were courageous. They actually dared to attack a Starry Sky ruler. If it were anyone else, would they dare to do so? P.S. A few days ago and today, Little Nine owes a total of 5 chapters. He will find time to make up for it. Chapter 2135. Leaving the Death Plane. Longao let out a long sigh of relief. Entering the Death Plane this time was really a close shave. He never thought that there would be a Starry Sky Dominator in the Death Plane. Not only that, but the Death Clan wanted to kill the Starry Sky Dominator and devour the primordial spirit to become the new Starry Sky Dominator. Although Longao knew that Wang Pan would not succeed, he still admired Wang Pan's courage. Not everyone would dare to do such a thing. Senior Fengxiu, what are you going to do next? Fengxiu appeared. Fengxiu's cultivation was already at the Starry Sky Realm King. If he could devour the blood, he could use the power of the blood to break through from the Starry Sky Realm King to the Starry Sky Realm Emperor, or even a titled World Emperor. It could be said that Fengxiu would become an invincible existence later. The Body Clan has been destroyed and I have nowhere to go. I heard that you have built an empire. If you don't mind, I would like to go to your empire and cultivate in seclusion. What do you think? He was overjoyed. Longao wanted to say this, but he was too embarrassed to say it. Longao was very clear that the reason Fengxiu did this was none other than because he helped him. I couldn't ask for more. He had planned to go out and explore before looking for Xiling and Bailing. Even though he knew that Xiling's identity was enough to sweep through the vast universe and was invincible, Xiling and Bailing's injuries were too serious. It was very dangerous for their primordial spirits to be injured. The two did not continue to stay. Using the teleportation array, they arrived at Grand Cloud Realm in a few hours. Soaring Dragon Empire. As soon as the two stepped into the Soaring Dragon Realm, they found that the entire Soaring Dragon Realm was talking about the Dragon Sect. The Dragon Sect had risen too quickly. In just a few months, their strength had multiplied several times. What kind of concept was this? Dragon Sect. The Master's sudden return made Yi Mei and Heifeng very curious. They did not know why the Master had returned so quickly. What the hell happened? Master, why did you suddenly come back? Longao smiled. Longao had a taste of their abilities, especially Heifeng, who was worthy of being the manager of a plane. Let me introduce you. This is Senior Fengxiu. From now on, Senior Fengxiu is officially the Grand Elder of our Dragon Sect. Great Elder? Both of them were shocked. In the beginning, Yi Mei and Heifeng were both elders of the Dragon Sect. However, Longao decided that both of them would become Vice Master of the Dragon Sect. In the Dragon Sect, the position of the Vice Master was far above that of the Elders. However, the position of the Great Elder was far above that of the Vice Master. The two of them couldn't understand how Fengxiu had become the Grand Elder of the Dragon Sect. What was going on? Of course, Oz, Plum, and Heifeng wouldn't accept it. No matter what, the Dragon Sect had always been managed by them. In other words, the Dragon Sect's current status was all because of the two of them. How could Longao not know what the two people meant? He was helpless. Before Longao could speak, Feng Xiu suddenly released his aura. No matter where he went, strength was everything. Starry Sky Realm King? Sensing his strength, the two of them were shocked. At this moment, they finally understood why the master made Feng Xiu the Grand Elder. Even though they were a little unconvinced, the two of them still bowed respectfully. Grand Elder. Longao smiled helplessly. Vice Master, Senior Feng Xiu will be in charge of the sect in the future. However, Senior Feng Xiu won't be involved in the matters of the sect. The sect will still be left to the two of you. If the two of them still didn't understand Longao's meaning, they would be a little too stupid. Understood. Longao arranged for the two of them to find a very secluded place for Feng Xiu with a beautiful environment. This was also the place where Feng Xiu would go into seclusion. No matter what, Feng Xiu had already swallowed the blood. If he wanted to continue breaking through, who knew how long it would take? Because of this, Feng Xiu was preparing to go into seclusion. He hoped to refine the blood as soon as possible and break through to the Starry Sky World Emperor realm. If he could break through to the titled World King realm, that would be even better. Vice Masters, how is the sect now? Master, we now have complete control over the Soaring Dragon realm. However, the sect's strength is still unable to contend with the other realms. But now that we have the Grand Elder, the other realms won't dare to casually provoke us. This was the effect they wanted. Feng Xiu was the Starry Sky Realm King. Let's not talk about whether he would be able to continue his breakthrough later on. Just based on his current strength, he wasn't someone ordinary people could contend against. Unless Grand Cloud Empire personally took action, it was just like what the two of them had said. But even so, the sect still needed to develop. If he wanted to establish an empire, his current strength was far from enough. Vice Masters, in your opinion, what should we do now? Longao knew that when it came to developing a force, he still couldn't do it. Yi Mei and Heifeng were much stronger than him. Yi Mei and Heifeng looked at each other. Heifeng said, Master, Yi Mei and I have already discussed this. We have already taken care of the Soaring Dragon realm. If we want to establish an empire, it is still far from enough. So we have decided to expand outwards. But Master, we have a worry. If we expand outwards, it will definitely attract the attention of the Grand Cloud Empire. Grand Cloud Empire. Longao knew what the two were worried about. Although the Grand Cloud Empire was considered weak among the many empires, it was only relatively speaking. No matter what, the Grand Cloud Empire had a titled World King overseeing it. If the Grand Cloud Empire wanted to deal with the sect, it would really be a troublesome matter. Longao knew that if the sect really expanded outwards, it would definitely attract the attention of the Grand Cloud Empire. At that time, would the Grand Cloud Empire allow the sect to expand? If it was him, he would definitely not allow a realm to casually expand his force. It was impossible not to expand. Longao didn't want to establish a sect, but an empire. According to the rules of the vast starry sky, to establish an empire, two conditions must be met. The first condition was that the empire must have a titled world king overseeing it. This condition might not be possible now, but it would be possible later. Because Feng Xiu had devoured the blood, he should be able to quickly break through to the titled world king realm. With Feng Xiu overseeing it, this condition would be met. As for the second condition, it was to rule over thousands of realms. Not to mention ruling over thousands of realms, it was already difficult for the sect to even rule over one realm. P.S. Copy of the first chapter. Chapter 2136. It was indeed a troublesome matter. Grand Cloud Empire's strength was there for all to see. What do you two plan to do? Looking at the two people who were smiling faintly, Longao instantly understood that the two of them must have a countermeasure. Master, we have already discussed this. There is only one way to force Grand Cloud Empire away. What is it? Heifeng thought for a moment and said, It's very simple. Display your strength and make Grand Cloud Empire fearful. This way, even if Grand Cloud Empire is unhappy, they won't dare to casually make a move. In just an instant, Longao already understood what the two of them meant. We'll do it your way. Ji Mei and Heifeng smiled. Without any hesitation, they immediately spread the news. Soaring Dragon Plains Dragon Sect has a titled world king overseeing it. Once the news spread out, it shook the entire starry sky. Everyone was very clear what a titled world king meant. Even if Dragon Sect didn't have the strength to rule over thousands of plains, they would at least have a titled world king overseeing it. With such a force, not to mention other planes, even Grand Cloud Empire wouldn't dare to casually provoke them. The sudden rise of the soaring dragon realm caused everyone to be extremely shocked. Just like what Yi Mei and He Feng had guessed, the news of a titled world king overseeing the soaring dragon realm had spread. Even Grand Cloud Empire was very unhappy and fearful of a titled world king, so they did not dare to act rashly. Even so, Dragon Sect didn't act recklessly. Instead, they carefully developed their sect's strength. It was still the same sentence. To establish an empire, there were two conditions that had to be met first. Feng Xiu's cultivation was about to break through to titled world king. If he could rule over thousands of plains, then he could officially establish an empire. However, at this moment, "Master, you want us to stop our actions immediately?" Hearing the master's words, both Xi Mei and He Feng were very shocked. They never thought that the master would ask them to stop their actions for no reason. What the hell happened? Both of you, I have thought about it these few days. If we continue to expand our forces, in the end, not only will there be no benefits, we will also provoke many powerful enemies. It is useless. Both of them didn't speak, because both of them knew very well that the master would not be so reckless. Our only option is to stop the operation. I'll invite some experts to oversee the sect. When the time comes, we'll destroy Haoyun Empire and replace it. Instead, so that was the case. The two of them were shocked. Of course, both of them knew that replacing and destroying Haoyun Empire was much better than slowly developing on their own. However, destroying Haoyun Empire was easier said than done. Every Starry Sky Empire was not simple. To be able to stand tall in the vast starry sky, Grand Cloud Empire's strength should not be underestimated. If he was not careful, the Dragon Sect would fall into eternal damnation. Master, I believe you should be well aware of Grand Cloud Empire's strength. Unless we have 3 titled world kings, we have no chance of victory. Leave this to me. Seeing that the master had already made up his mind, the two of them could only agree no matter how unwilling they were. Longao had the final say in Dragon Sect. Even if the two of them were vice master, they had no right to interfere with Longao's decisions. Back Mountain, in a courtyard with a very beautiful environment. Senior Feng Xiu, Haoyun Empire is very powerful. If we want to destroy Haoyun Empire and replace it, it would be a little too difficult. It turned out that Longao was doing this because of Feng Xiu's suggestion. Brother Long, Haoyun Empire is not as powerful as you think. When I completely refine the blood and break through to Starry Sky World Emperor, I can help you destroy Haoyun Empire. Since it was already like this, what else could he say? Longao could only nod in agreement. According to Feng Xiu's calculations, he would need at least 3 years to completely refine the blood and break through to Starry Sky World Emperor. Could it be that he would stay in Soaring Dragon Realm for 3 years? Longao did not continue to stay. After a few simple words with the two of them, he chose to leave Soaring Dragon Realm. Other than establishing an empire, the most important thing was to find Bai Ling and Xiling's whereabouts. The longer he delayed, the greater the problem of Bai Ling and Xiling's safety. Devouring Sky Domain. Yi Dugu and Long Batian entered the vast starry sky, and their first stop was the Devouring Sky Domain. Currently, the most famous person in the Devouring Sky Domain was Long Ao. He destroyed Shinkuan Sect and wreaked havoc in Devouring Heaven Empire. Such actions could be said to be unprecedented. Long Ao is really powerful. He has just stepped into the starry sky, and he has already caused such a huge commotion in the Heaven-Devouring Empire. What shocked me the most was that the Heaven-Devouring Empire couldn't even keep Long Ao here. It's unbelievable. Yi Dugu was still in disbelief. When he was at his peak, he had entered the vast starry sky a few times. Of course, he knew what Devouring Heaven Empire meant. Not to mention Long Ao. Even other Starry Sky Empire would not dare to offend Devouring Heaven Empire. Long Bat Ian was also shocked. According to the rumors, Long Ao was now a Starry Sky Domain Emperor. It was hard to imagine that Longao's cultivation speed was so fast. One had to know that their situation was completely different from Longao's. Longao had never devoured any starry sky godhead. It was simply unbelievable that he could cultivate at such a speed. Young master, what should we do now? Long Baishan's cultivation had successfully broken through to the titled World King realm. Even so, he did not dare to go against Yidugu. No matter what, the divine mathematician was the ruler of the starry sky. If the divine mathematician wanted to destroy him, it would be a matter of minutes. Since we have nothing to do, why don't we go look for Longao? What do you think? Long Batian naturally hoped to see Longao as soon as possible. Although he knew that Longao was his junior disciple, as Longao grew stronger and stronger, this relationship would no longer exist. Young master, we have no idea where Longao is right now. In the boundless starry sky, where should we go to look for Longao? In the vast starry sky, there were countless planes and worlds. Looking for a single person was like looking for a needle in a haystack. That's easy. According to Longao's personality, he definitely won't give up so easily. As long as we follow the news, we will definitely be able to find Longao. The two of them first stayed in the heaven-devouring plane and investigated the grudges between Longao and the heaven-devouring empire. If they didn't investigate, they wouldn't have known. After all, the hatred between Longao and the heaven-devouring empire was truly earth-shattering. Was Longao really just a starry sky domain emperor? P.S. Send the second chapter here. Chapter 2137. After leaving the soaring dragon realm, Longao felt a little helpless. The universe was vast and boundless. Where should he go to find Xiling and Bai Ling? How were Xiling and Bai Ling doing? According to Xin Tong, Xiling and Bai Ling should be fine. Even if he found them now, it would be useless. He might as well wait until he was stronger before looking for them. Even so, Longao couldn't wait for even a minute. It was better to find Xiling and Bai Ling first. It wasn't easy to find the two of them in the vast universe. He didn't know where the news came from, but Fengshan and Fengxia had left the heaven-devouring empire and entered the Grand Cloud realm. Because of Bu Jing's threat, the heaven-devouring empire could only deal with Longao after 3 years. However, Fengshan and Fengxia couldn't wait any longer. They had to kill Longao. Fengshan's cultivation had already reached the Starry Sky World King level. If he could recover to his peak, he would be a true titled World King. As for Fengxia, she had also reached the Starry Sky World King level. Fengxia's master, Ningwuk, had thought that he could rely on Fengxia to recover his strength as a titled World King. However, he didn't expect that Fengxia would backfire and destroy his primordial spirit. If Fengxia was lucky, she could rely on Ningwuk's strength to become a titled World King. Old Ancestor, according to the Empire's news, Longao has already entered the Grand Cloud Realm and established the Dragon Sect, occupying the soaring dragon realm. One had to admit that the heaven-devouring empire was very powerful. They could find Longao's whereabouts in such a short time, even though they were separated by a realm. Longao is really arrogant. He actually dares to establish a sect and occupy a realm. Old Ancestor, according to the rumors, there is a titled World King in the soaring dragon realm. If we act rashly, we might end up losing the rice used to lure it. The two of them were well aware of what it meant to be a titled World King. Fengshan coldly sneered, his face filled with disdain. He said, if Longao had the help of a titled World King, he wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state. It was just a gimmick. Fengshan didn't believe that the Dragon Sect had a titled Realm King overseeing it. Then, shall we head to the Soaring Dragon Realm now? Fengshan laughed. Soaring Dragon Realm. With the help of the teleportation circle, the two of them quickly stepped into the Soaring Dragon Realm. Currently, there was only one supreme overlord in the Soaring Dragon Realm, and that was the Dragon Sect. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth? Fengxia? Sprig Plum Blossom and Heifeng were not surprised by their sudden arrival. No matter what, they had a grudge against their master. It would be strange if they chose to give up. The two of them were very afraid of Feng Xia and Feng Shan. Feng Shan's cultivation had already broken through to the Starry Sky World King realm. As for Feng Xia, she had already reached the Starry Sky World Master realm. If it was only Feng Xia, the two of them wouldn't think too much. After all, Heifeng's cultivation had already broken through to the Starry Sky Realm King realm. Only Feng Shan was troublesome. Call Longao out, you coward. Who are you? Why should our master come out to see you? Sprig Plum Blossom sneered. So what if Feng Shan was also a Starry Sky Realm King? One had to know that there was still a Feng Xiu overseeing the dragon sect. You don't know the meaning of death. Just as the two of them were about to attack, a terrifying aura rose. It was none other than Feng Xiu. Starry Sky Realm King? The two of them glanced at each other. In the next second, Feng Xiu's figure had already approached them from afar. In the blink of an eye, he was right in front of them. Who are you? Feng Xiu. Of course, the two of them didn't know that Feng Xiu was from the Body Clan. Otherwise, they would have turned and left immediately. The Body Clan was incomparably powerful. Sir Feng Xiu, the grudge between us and Longao has nothing to do with you. You don't have to get involved in this flood. The two of them didn't want to start a fight unless it was absolutely necessary. If they were at their peak, they wouldn't be afraid of a Starry Sky Realm King. But in their current situation, once they started a fight, it was unknown who would win and who would lose. Feng Xiu sneered. He didn't put the two of them in his eyes. Scram. What did you say? Feng Xia's expression changed. She never thought that the other party would be so arrogant. So what if Feng Xiu was a Starry Sky Realm King? Ancestor or Starry Sky Realm King? Who was more powerful? Get out of the Soaring Dragon Realm. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. After stopping the angry Feng Xia, Feng Shan snorted coldly. The two of them turned and left. Thank you, Great Elder. You're welcome. Sprig Plum Blossom and Heifeng's expressions were ugly as they watched the two of them leave. Although they had used Feng Xiu's deterrence to scare the two of them away, the two of them would definitely not let this go. This wasn't the way to go. What do you think we should do? Heifeng thought for a moment and said, There's no need to inform the master about this. If nothing unexpected happens, the two of them will definitely not let this go. All right. Sprig Plum Blossom was very worried about the master's safety. No matter what, Feng Shan and Feng Xia's strength was obvious. If the two of them found the master, it would be very troublesome. Feng Shan and Feng Xia didn't leave the Soaring Dragon Realm. The two of them chose to stay for the time being. If they couldn't kill Longao after entering the Soaring Dragon Realm, how could they be satisfied? The two of them didn't expect that there would be a Starry Sky Realm King in the Dragon Sect. If that was the case, things would become troublesome. Ancestor, what should we do now? Feng Xia was very curious when she saw the ancestor suddenly smile. She didn't know what was going on with the ancestor. Xia, don't be impatient. Although we didn't expect that there would be a Starry Sky Realm King in the Dragon Sect, this can explain a problem. What problem? Feng Xia became more and more curious. It's very simple. If there was a titled Realm King in the Dragon Sect, would we be able to leave smoothly this time? Feng Xia instantly understood the ancestor's meaning. If a titled Realm King was in the Dragon Sect, they wouldn't have the slightest chance of killing Longao. But now, the situation was completely different. If there was only a Starry Sky Realm King in the Dragon Sect without a titled Realm King, then the two of them still had a chance. No matter what, the ancestor was also a Starry Sky Realm King. It wasn't certain who would win and who would lose. Longao should already know that we are here, but he hasn't come out. If I'm not mistaken, he shouldn't be here. Then where should we go to find Longao? Their purpose was to kill Longao. If Longao wasn't in the Soaring Dragon Realm, then there wasn't much meaning in them continuing to stay. Feng Shan sneered and said, We don't need to look everywhere for Longao's traces. We can just wait for him to show up. P.S. Copy of Chapter 3. Chapter 2138. Longao didn't know that Feng Shan and Feng Xia had come to the Soaring Dragon Realm. If he had known, Longao would have rushed back as soon as possible. Longao was no longer the same as before. Even if he couldn't kill them with his own strength, what about the two Starry Sky Corpse demons? The two Starry Sky Corpse demons were both Starry Sky Realm Kings. They could kill Fang Shan and Fang Xia in a matter of minutes. The current Longao had already left the Soaring Dragon dimension. He was looking for the whereabouts of Bai Ling and Zai Ling, while looking for traces of the Reincarnation Clan. Until now, Longao didn't quite believe the mysterious young man's words that he was his reincarnation. He was very depressed. To find the Reincarnation Clan, the reincarnation sword in his hand was the key. In the Dragon Seal space. Senior, I have something to ask. The Reincarnation Clan. That's right. For some reason, Longao had a feeling that the so-called Longmie, the ruler of the Reincarnation Starry Sky, had something to do with the Reincarnation Clan. Was the ruler of the Reincarnation Starry Sky a member of the Reincarnation Clan? It seems that you have guessed it. Was it true? Longao, you can think of it this way. I am both a member of the Reincarnation Clan and not a member of the Reincarnation Clan. What do you mean? Longao was a little confused by Longmie. What did he mean by both a member of the Reincarnation Clan and not a member of the Reincarnation Clan? Was he a member of the Reincarnation Clan or not? He was helpless. Back then, I chose to fall and enter the reincarnation realm. After reincarnation, I was reincarnated into the Reincarnation Clan in one of my lives. It was also in that life that I had the greatest hope of recovering to the peak of the Starry Sky Dominator. In an instant, Longao had already understood what was going on. According to the legend, the Reincarnation Clan suddenly rose and a super genius appeared in the Reincarnation Clan. In just a few hundred years, he achieved supreme strength and dominated the vast starry sky. If there was no accident, this legendary super expert should be Longmie. No one would have thought that the reincarnation expert who dominated the vast starry sky was actually a starry sky dominator. If this news were to spread out, it would cause a sensation. He sighed deeply. Back then, I was a little too reckless. I wanted to rely on my own strength to stand at the peak of the starry sky again, but I didn't expect to be besieged by many forces and eventually fall. Their only chance was gone. Longao had already guessed that it wouldn't be easy for the 12 starry sky rulers to recover to their peak. Although he had already guessed it, he was still shocked. He seemed to have thought of something. Since Longmie was the strongest person in the Luan clan, then what about the mysterious young man? The mysterious youth was also an expert from the Luan clan. Did Dragon Annihilation know this person? Alright, I know what you're thinking. The person inside the wordless heavenly book is me. As expected, it seemed that his guess was correct. The mysterious young man in the wordless heavenly book, who looked exactly like him, was Longmie. The two of them were actually the same person. In that case, didn't that mean that he was the reincarnation of Longmie? Was that even possible? It was a pain in the ass. Longao realized that things were getting more and more complicated and mysterious. Whether it was true or not, he couldn't just rely on their one-sided words. Longao, you are my 100th reincarnation. I didn't expect that you and I could exist at the same time, even though I'm only a remnant soul now. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for two people's primordial spirits to exist at the same time. Even the Starry Sky ruler couldn't do that. If it was possible, then the cultivator of the Starry Sky could create countless clones. The clones condensed by the cultivators of the Starry Sky today wouldn't have their own primordial spirits. Senior, if that's the case, is there any meaning in me looking for the Luan clan? In Longao's view, this matter had indeed lost its meaning. Longmie smiled helplessly. Looking at his 100th reincarnation in front of him, he said helplessly, Longao, under normal circumstances, I should have killed you. Longao didn't panic at all. He stood calmly, because he knew very well that if Longmie wanted to attack, he wouldn't need to talk nonsense with him. He could just attack directly. Even if Longmie's strength hadn't recovered to the Starry Sky ruler level and was only a remnant soul, he believed that it would be more than enough to kill Jian Wushuang. The power of the Dragon Seal alone was not something Jian Wushuang could contend against. Longmie seemed to admire Jian Wushuang very much. He continued, I should have disappeared during your reincarnation, and you should have started to awaken your memories. However, I found that you won't awaken my memories during this reincarnation. That's why I can exist. What does that mean? Longao was very curious. He was getting more and more confused. It's very simple. My reincarnation this time, which is you, won't awaken my memories. There is only one reason why I exist alone. That is, you have left me and are no longer me. I see. Long Ao roughly understood Long Mie's meaning. He was his reincarnation and also an independent existence. If that was the case, then he could also say that he wasn't Long Mie's reincarnation because he wouldn't awaken any of Long Mie's memories or things. Was this a good or bad thing? Long Ao couldn't guarantee that Long Mie would be a friend and not an enemy. Long Ao, although you are an independent existence, you still managed to find the Luan clan, which will be of great help to you. According to this situation, even if you can't inherit the Luan clan's power, you can still help me. When the time comes, I won't treat you unfairly and will let you break through to the Starry Sky Realm King level. I see. Long Mie's meaning was very clear. Jin Wushuang had to find the whereabouts of the Luan clan, not to help him, but to help Long Mie. Long Ao could imagine what Long Mie would do if he refused to find or go to the Luan clan. He would definitely kill him without hesitation. Senior, there is something I don't understand. Since your reincarnation has reincarnated once, I believe you must know the whereabouts of the Luan clan. Why don't you go there yourself? There is a remnant soul. If I act rashly and get swallowed by others, I don't know how many years it will take for me to reincarnate again. Long Ao felt a little uncomfortable in his heart because from the moment he obtained the dragon seal, he had a feeling that he had always been a chess piece. It was as if this was a game of chess between the rulers of the starry sky, and he and everyone else were chess pieces. No matter where they went or how they went, it was not something he could solve. So what if he felt uncomfortable in his heart? In the vast starry sky, the strong were respected. This was the world of the rulers of the starry sky. Who could escape the fate of being a chess piece? P.S. The first chapter has been delivered. Today, Little 9 will make up for the missing chapters. Including yesterday's, there should be 7 chapters. Adding today's 5 chapters, there will be a total of 12 chapters. Chapter 2139. Senior, where is the location of the Luan clan? Since Long Mie was the super expert of the Luan clan, there was no doubt that he knew the location. Not only that, Long Ao was almost certain that Long Mie must have left something important in the Luan clan. Otherwise, why would he be so anxious about the Luan clan? But one had to know. To Long Mie, the Luan clan was just his reincarnation. To the Luan clan was just a passing traveler. I don't know. Long Mie sighed deeply and said helplessly, if I could confirm the location of the Luan clan, I would have let you go long ago. Why wait until now? Now that he thought about it, it was indeed the case. If Long Mie really knew the location of the Luan clan, there was no need to do this. This was troublesome. The Luan clan sealed themselves back then. For so many years, no one had found the whereabouts of the Luan clan. Just by himself? Just by the reincarnation sword in his hand? Could he really find the Luan clan? Long Ao had no confidence at all because this kind of thing was too vague. It was like looking for a needle in the sea. Long Ao, the key to opening the Luan clan is the reincarnation sword in your hand. As for how to find the seal of the Luan clan, even I have no idea, but I believe that you can find it. Long Ao smiled helplessly. He didn't have any confidence in himself. Where did Long Mie get his confidence from? Why did Long Mie trust him so much? The wordless heavenly book had disappeared. Long Ao didn't know why Long Mie and the mysterious youth were the same person. What did he mean by creating a mysterious youth? He didn't continue asking. The more he asked, the more mistakes he would make. Long Ao was very clear about his identity. If what Long Mie said was true, even if he was his reincarnation, he was still an independent existence. Then, Long Mie must be using him. At this moment, the Devour Chaos tablet in his dantian began to move again. He was extremely depressed. With a whoosh, the Devour Chaos tablet left his dantian and appeared in front of Long Ao. What was going on? Long Ao noticed that ever since he had left the martial heaven plane and entered the vast starry sky, The number of times he had devoured the primal chaos tablets had increased. Originally, there had been signs of him refining them, but now, it seemed that the refining process was slowly disappearing. He had refined it for nothing. Longao, don't bother with devouring the primal chaos stone tablet. Based on my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, the devour primal spirit should have already awakened. Devouring the primal chaos stone tablet should have gone to find its master. Longao was a little surprised because he didn't think that the devouring chaos tablet would appear so frequently because it was preparing to find its master. He had always thought that if the Star Sky Ruler Devourer really died, he would be able to refine the chaos tablet. Then, once he became the new Star Sky Ruler, he would no longer be a pawn. It seemed that all of this was just a fantasy. Before Longao could react, the Devour Primal Chaos Tablet that had just appeared had already disappeared. More or less, he felt indignant. He had a total of 2 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets. Back then, because of the God Diviner, he had no choice but to hand over the 5 Elements Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Now, the devouring Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was gone as well. His efforts had been for nothing. It was very depressing. At this moment, Longao, even if you obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet, it won't be of any use to you. Although the 12 of us aren't immortal, it's impossible for us to die. As long as we don't truly die, it doesn't matter who obtains the Primal Chaos Tablet, because there's no way to refine it. Furthermore, as we awaken, the Primal Chaos Tablet will naturally return to our bodies. Longao already knew about this. I understand. As the Devour Chaos Tablet disappeared, the Martial Heaven continent. In the outer sea, within the Crystal Palace, Master God Diviner, who had been resting with his eyes closed, suddenly changed. Suddenly, 3 beams of light shot out from within Master God Diviner's body. They were none other than the so-called 3 Chaos Steels. The 3 Chaos Steels were the Lightning, 5 Elements, and Darkness Chaos Steels. It seems that everyone has awakened. The 3 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets instantly disappeared. From then on, other than the Time Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, all the other Primal Chaos Stone Tablets had appeared. As for the Time Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, if nothing unexpected happened, the Time Primal Chaos Stone Tablet should have already awakened. The 12 Chaos Tablets, the 5 Elements Chaos Tablet, the Devouring Chaos Tablet, the Lightning Chaos Tablet, the Space Chaos Tablet, the Time Chaos Tablet, the Destruction Chaos Tablet, the Reincarnation Chaos Tablet, the Slaughter Chaos Tablet, the Divine Divination Chaos Tablet, the Sword Intent Chaos Tablet, the Immortal Tyrant Body Chaos Tablet, and the Darkness Chaos Tablet had all awakened. The 12 Dominators of the Starry Sky were the Dominator of the 5 Elements Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Devouring Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Lightning Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Space Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Time Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Destruction Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Reincarnation Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Slaughter Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Divine Calculation Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Sword Will Starry Sky, the Dominator of the Immortal Tyrant Body, and the Dominator of the Darkness Starry Sky. What the others didn't know was that in the minds of everyone in the vast starry skies, the 12 rulers of the starry skies had already perished. Everyone was still desperately searching for the 12 Chaos Stone Tablets, hoping to become a new ruler of the starry skies. However, the 12 rulers of the starry skies knew that even if they had awakened their primordial spirits, it wouldn't be easy for them to return to their peak state. For example, the 3 rulers of the starry skies, the Immortal Tyrant Body, and the Slaughter Chaos Tablet hadn't been able to return to their peak state after so many years. If others were to find out that the Divine Diviner had obtained 3 Chaos Stone Tablets alone, and with the Heaven Dao's Space Chaos Tablet, he would have a total of 4 Chaos Stone Tablets. What would they think? Everyone has awakened. I hope that you can all recover soon. This is our last chance. If we fail again, we won't even have the chance to reincarnate. The Divine Diviner was helpless. After waiting for so many years, he had finally waited for all the rulers of the starry skies to awaken. As long as they were a little more careful, nothing would happen. Once they returned to their peak state, Who in the entire starry skies would be a match for them? As the 3 chaos stone tablets left, the divine diviner heaved a sigh of relief. Everything was going according to his calculations. There wasn't a single deviation. Everything was under his control. This time, we will definitely succeed. Ha 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 ha. The divine diviner closed his eyes and rested once more. P.S. Send the second chapter here. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.